My life has not been the same since all of this has happened. I didn't have a clue that it would be in the front page of the LA Times for many days. And then it ended up being a podcast with over 40 million viewers. I had no idea it would be this big. After John died, we went to the crematorium to cremate John's body, and I filmed it so that I could have closure. And I felt like that was the final step to having John gone. As I was watching the box go into the fire, I couldn't help but think that he was going to be burning in hell. He put me through hell, he put my family through hell, and he's probably in hell.
This is Sean in the hospital bed. After the incident, I'm just so thankful I can't see his eyes here. I can't. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna lie, when I saw that picture, I still feel guilty of killing him. Even though I know what I did was right, but I still took another person's life.
I was a single woman. I'd raised 4 kids, and I was out on my own. They had moved out. They were in their 20s and 30s, so my nights were free. I had been somewhat unlucky in love, and so I was going to take a chance and join a dating website. When I saw John's profile, he was in the medical field. He was very handsome. He had pictures of his dogs, of his children, and we decided to go on a date. John seemed to be very interested in my life, which I liked. Everything he said was like perfect in my eyes.
I did a lot of traveling overseas with Doctors Without Borders.
Oh my God, that's incredible.
He'd been divorced 16 years, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, that's a long time to be divorced without jumping back in.
I made a mistake once. It took me forever to get over it.
John made me feel very desired, and so that was why it was so easy to get lured in.
I just wanted to be with the right person, and I'm glad I waited.
This type of person gets in your head, knows what to say. It was just this gift that he had, a sick gift. Well, this was a picture of John, one of the first pictures he ever sent me. Looking at it now, I find it sad. I can't do this. Sorry. What a waste of a person. And he affected way too many lives. Sorry. It's hard talking about it so much. Because you think you've completely moved on and you're great, and then it brings back all these memories of the hell you went through. on our first date, I think we closed down the restaurant. I said, why don't we go back and I'll make you a cup of coffee before your drive back. And so I invited him up. I ran to the restroom. When I came back from the restroom, he was laying on my bed. And I said, no, get off. We're not ending here. I said, we've had a perfect night. Don't do this. And he goes, what's wrong with it? And I said, well, because I don't want to go there yet. And he kept laying there and said, it feels so good. You have no idea how good your bed feels. And he kept making comments, this feels so good. Thinking it's just a mattress, who cares? I didn't realize at the time he had a secret. Looking back, he had been in jail right before he met me. The last time was 3 days before I met him. That's why the bed felt so good to him. He had just gotten out of that jail. And in hindsight, if I would have known who this person was, I would have never dated the guy. But I didn't realize that. And finally I said, no, you're not staying, you have to leave. And he left. The next day he calls and he apologizes for jumping on the bed. He just didn't want it to end, and he was very attracted to me, and he says that it was completely his fault and that he wanted a second chance. I was hesitant, but he pleaded with me, and I finally said, yes, I'll give you a second chance. The next few dates, he was a complete gentleman and would just kiss me goodbye and leave. And so he learned his lesson. John wore scrubs a lot, and back then I didn't think a lot of it because I thought he was going to work. But there were times when he would show up in scrubs and they were dirty. So this photo is a charity event in the beginning when John and I had just started going out, and he was really late, I remember. So he pulled up late in scrubs, and I'm thinking, okay. And he said he had no time to go home and change at his place because it was too far away from where the hospital was. If you're in surgery and it's running over because there's complications and you don't have time to change and you're trying to get there, I didn't question it. I mean, I looked at it as odd, but at the end of the day, he always had the best excuses. We had our picture taken with his scrubs on. But looking back now, it was a complete act. It's how he lured women in and tried to look like this great, successful man. And they were obviously old. He had been using these scrubs for years to con women or to go into hospitals. I think back to how many times he tried to fool me by having his scrubs on and how many other women he fooled doing this to. I still get calls every day about it. Just yesterday, I had a call from a woman that he had dated right before me, that she thought the same thing. She actually thought he was a doctor. When I look at these scrubs now on John, I see him as a costume and a way to lure women in. With John, things were moving very quickly after our first date, and he treated me so well. I was loving every minute of it. It felt so great.
Hi, sweetheart.
Hey, Mom.
It was a few days before Thanksgiving, and Tara was coming out to help me with a dinner for Thanksgiving. I was very excited for John to meet Tara, and Tara to meet John. I thought they would get along really well.
John, Tara's here. Come and say hello. How are you doing, sweetie?
I'm good, Mom. She said that John was very charming. She said that he was a doctor, and she was so happy about that.
I am so excited for you to meet him.
I know. I can't wait. He sounds perfect. If my mom was so in love with him and thought that this was her guy and her perfect guy, I wanted to get to know him.
Hey there.
Hi, John. It's so nice to meet you.
I wanted John to be nice and comforting and endearing, but instead, when I met him, he was kind of cold and standoffish.
Why don't we all take a seat?
Usually, if someone has kids and they're dating your mom, then that's what they talk about most of the time because they want you to know, like, they have kids and they care about them.
So, John, I hear you've got daughters of your own.
Yeah.
But John didn't talk a lot about his family. My mom, however, would talk a lot about his daughters and how he was such a good dad.
John is such an incredible father, and his daughters are all so beautiful, aren't they, John?
Something was fishy to me about that because she never met them. And if this guy was so close to his kids, why wouldn't you meet them?
Do you have any pictures of them?
No, not on me.
Oh.
John and Tara did not hit it off like I had imagined. He was a little bit aloof. I didn't know what was going on, but prior to John, my kids have been very protective, and they always felt I deserved the best.
Why don't you bring your things upstairs and get settled in?
And so I'm thinking to myself, here we go again. They don't like a guy because I'm falling for him.
Tara, stay out of it.
I screamed back at him, and I screamed at my mom, too.
Seriously? You're gonna let him talk to me like that?
That would have been the first moment that she should have protected me against John as a mother. The day before Thanksgiving, I went to Newport to spend Thanksgiving with my mom. I found out things were more serious than I was led on to believe. My mom said that John was not moving in with her, but I walk into the bathroom. I notice his men's grooming bag there. Then I notice there's a toothbrush, there's his aftershave, and there's stuff of his in the home like he would be living there and not as a guest. As I'm walking through the house and I'm just seeing his stuff everywhere, I'm getting so angry because I'm being told that he's not living there, and I'm being very suspicious of what she said to me. And then I opened the closet of the room that I was staying in to put my suitcase in the closet, and I realized that there wasn't room in the closet because his stuff was just everywhere. There was a box there filled to the brim, a little bit overflowing, but right on top was a nursing certificate. I was told that John was an anesthesiologist, and I was mad that I was getting lied to, so I confronted her.
Mom, what the hell is his stuff doing all over the place?
Tara had gotten very, very upset and was yelling at John and telling him, what are you doing with things in my mom's house? And yelling at me.
Did he move in here? Yes, honey, I meant to tell you.
I can't believe you. Are you crazy, Mom? You don't know anything about this guy.
Don't you dare yell at your mother like that.
What are his diplomas? He's not an anesthesiologist.
What the hell is this?
Something's wrong with this guy, and she's yelling. She's very upset.
He's been lying to you. He's not a doctor. He's a nurse. Well, I'm sure there's a reasonable...
Tara, you stay out of it.
He comes in accusing me of snooping through his things. He told me that I didn't want to see my mom happy, that I just wanted her for all myself.
If you were my daughter, I'd smack the hell out of you.
Seriously? You're gonna let him talk to me like that?
I screamed back at him, and I screamed at my mom too because I couldn't believe that she was allowing him to speak to me like this.
I don't know what's wrong with you that you can't see that.
She felt that John was lying about his life and that she could see right through him. And why can't I see it? I told her it's my life and I can make decisions on my own. I'm an adult and she needs to respect me.
That was completely out of line.
I told her I don't know what else to do other than leave because I'm feeling like I'm getting kicked out of the house.
Well, I'm not staying in the house with him here.
No one is forcing you to stay.
She never stopped me. It just hurts because that would have been the first moment that she should have protected me against John as a mother.
You're choosing him over your own daughter?
After Tara left,
Fine.
I asked John about the certificate, and his reply to me was he was a nurse anesthetist opposed to an anesthesiologist, but they basically do the same thing. So I didn't think anything of it. I just thought that she was making a big deal over nothing.
After the fight, I went to my sister's, and Jacqueline and I were discussing that something is terribly off with this guy, that this guy is evil.
There's something seriously off about him. I thought the same thing when I met him.
And that's when there was a string of text messages that came in from my mom's phone,
Oh my God. What?
saying that my sister should jump off a building head first would be preferably, and telling my sister to end her life.
What the hell?
I just don't Let me see. understand. Jackie, this is crazy.
Jacqueline was shaking because her mom was saying these things to her. But I looked at them and I thought that couldn't be my mom saying that.
There's no way Mom would say this.
The wording was off. It wasn't how she would write something. And we knew it was not my mom who was sending them.
Mom would never say this to us.
It was John.
Yeah, you've got to be right.
I could tell that he was dangerous, but at this time we only had suspicions, and it was so frustrating because we were perceived as the crazy ones.
We got to get him away from her.
We warned her so many times, and she was unable to see the red flags, and I knew this was going to happen.
John filled a void that I felt many other men had not filled. He made me feel like I was the only one. Every word was completely what I wanted to hear. Every action was what I wanted to see. But there was this Sunday where John and I were going to church, came home, walked in the front door. And there's this woman with wet hair, dressed all in white, reading this little Bible, drinking Ovaltine. She had all my clothes on. And I'm talking to her. How'd you get in my house?
What are you doing?
And she said, well, it's my house.
This is my home.
She looks very distraught. I thought she was mentally ill. A homeless woman had wandered her way into her house. And John slammed her down on the kitchen counter. And John looks at me and he said, call the police.
Call the police! What?
Once the gal was gone, John immediately went into protective mode. He felt that we needed to get cameras to protect me. Cameras, front door, the bedroom, down the hall, and towards the entry. John had set it up to where he could see me in his computer and also on his phone. At that point, I thought he didn't want anything to happen to me. He was protecting me. I just thought he cared a lot about me and my safety. I now look back and I feel that John probably knew the women. And it was a way to set up cameras in the house so that he could watch me.
John, please repeat after me. I, John,
Hi, John.
take Deborah
Take Deborah.
to be my wedded wife.
Wait.
It had been 2 months, and John was very persistent about wanting to get married. And he kept saying, please, please, pleading with me. He said, what do you have to lose? We're going to be together the rest of our lives.
For better or worse,
Better or worse.
for richer or poorer.
Richer or poorer.
I was falling in love. At the same time, there was my gut that was telling me, slow down. Something's not quite right. But I was ignoring it because the feelings of falling in love are so much fun.
With this ring, I be wed, and you then, with all my love, I give to you. I give to you.
We had no idea that my mom had married John until way after the fact. We warned her that this guy was a bad guy, but she still did it anyways.
The reason I kept my marriage to John a secret is because I knew it would create a lot of problems with my kids, and I didn't want that.
By the power invested in me by the laws of the state of Nevada, I do pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss your bride. Oh my God.
That was painful. I think that one of the reasons I stuck by John at certain times was because I had taken those vows. I still felt that that is the right thing to do, to honor your vows. And when I look back now, I realize it was all a game to him. The whole thing was a lie. After John and I were married, he was the doting husband and things were great for a while. I felt like we were on our honeymoon constantly. But what I realized with John is everything was orchestrated to literally have complete control. I got really creeped out when I'm driving to Vegas and he calls me.
Hi, John. Yeah, I just pulled over. What's up?
And he says, I see that you just passed Barstow.
Yeah.
I think you need to stop for gas and probably in Baker. And I'm like, okay. The cameras at the house felt normal, wanting to protect me in my environment. But he had also set up my iPhone to where he could sort of track where I was going. And I didn't realize he'd done my phone and the iPad and all that.
Okay, good idea. Thanks, honey. Bye, John.
And I'm thinking to myself, I don't like that he could just see me everywhere he is. It's just creepy. That's when I thought, there's a lot more to this that's going on. There were some odd things that he was doing. I'm looking at this camera thinking, what's going on? After the drive to Vegas, when he had seen me in Barstow and was telling me when to get gas, I was pretty much wondering, what in the world is he doing? Why is he watching me to this degree? I was starting to become suspicious at this point. And so I thought, I'm going to hook up to the camera so I can sort of see what's happening. There were some odd things that he was doing in the morning. He would leave in his scrubs. And 1 or 2 hours later, I had logged on to see what was happening. He would come back. He'd go upstairs, either lay down or play video games or, just hang out in the bedroom or in his office all day. And I'm looking at this camera thinking, you jerk. You've been lying to me. What's going going on? So I go home and I confront him. I said, what's going on? You came home. How come? And he said, oh, they canceled. The woman had eaten something, so they couldn't do surgery, so they sent me home. Which is legit. Another time he said he wasn't feeling well, so they were able to get somebody else to cover him. His stories were so believable, to where he convinces you. He would say, why would I lie to you? What's there to lie about? He was very, very, very convincing. The first time I saw all of his prescription pills, I thought, wow. He had, I'm going to say, 9 different bottles of pills. And some were prescription antibiotics. He had pills for MS, pills for ADHD. He had Ambien, and he had a bunch of pain pills. I thought that was quite odd that someone has so many pills. And so I questioned him. I asked, wow, how come so many? He had told me that he was in Iraq. He worked for Doctor Without Borders. And one of the things that he did that he was telling me is he had jumped out of a helicopter and he was helping save lives, but he had lots of scars from jumping out of the helicopter. I never saw him completely out of it except one time. This time was a few months into the relationship, and I thought I would surprise him by coming home in the middle of the day.
John, is everything all right?
And he was completely out of it. And I realized he had probably taken a bunch of pills that day. But when I asked John about he'd take a bunch of pills, he said, no, I had the flu. What makes you think that I would take a bunch of pills? John would always turn around if I questioned something. Why would I lie to you over this? I love you, you know? So he had a way of turning everything around to where you walk away going, okay, wow. Well, I'm sorry. You know, I guess I shouldn't have read into it. It made me feel badly that I was questioning him.
Jacqueline told me that John uses Mom's car all the time. There's something about him. We wanted to know what John was up to. So Jacqueline put a tracker on the car that John was driving. We found out that he was going to doctor's offices for short periods of time. My theory on why John was going to all these different doctor offices was I thought that he could be a drug addict. He's wearing scrubs and he's pretending to be a doctor. I knew he was not who he said he was. We confronted my mom, and she didn't quite know what to do with this information, and she didn't know how to dissect it, whether or not we were making it up because it was our word against John's.
When John and I got married, we made vows, and I take those very seriously. I didn't want to feel like I was failing again. Sometimes you want to stick with it and get through the rough periods and know that better days are coming. I was his next victim. He's out of control, and there's nothing you can do about it.
This photo is of my mom and John holding it right in front of me. It makes me angry still because I don't think I was talking to my mom at this time. And he's wearing scrubs and he's pretending to be a doctor. But now that I'm looking at it so closely, I've never seen any of my doctors dressed like this. I don't want this one anymore. One day, Jacqueline came home and found John was sitting there waiting for her to get home. The following morning, I got text messages from her saying that she saw John and to look out for a certain car. This was the first time that we had evidence that John was stalking us. I later found out that he was stalking us quite frequently. Jacqueline was very frantic after she saw John, and she had warned me to carry pepper spray, keep my pocket knife on me that she knew I had, and to just be aware. He was stalking us, so we needed to prepare for anything that was going to come. I could see things that my mother couldn't because I was not in it. She was the target, and I was the person that he wanted to isolate. But it was so frustrating when my mom wouldn't believe me. It was so hard she would believe John in anything he said. So Jacqueline had hired a private investigator and brought that information to me.
He seemed sketchy from the start, but this is insane.
It was scary.
I mean, look at how many identities he's had.
John was using different social security cards. He had restraining orders on him.
He's been in and out of jail like a million times.
He had several arrests on his record. He had been to jail many times.
I can't believe how much dirt there is on this guy.
He was a con man, essentially. Having everything confirmed was very scary. I didn't want to be right, but everything was confirmed. And so this is game on time. We gotta prepare.
We have to get Mom away from him.
There was this one day, I go out to get the mail, and there was this letter, and it was addressed to John. But it was from the Orange County jail. And because I had my suspicions at this point, I opened it. It basically said, it sounds like you're doing great. Sounds like you found the one finally, and that life's really turned around for you. The way the guy worded it made me realize that John must have been in jail with him. And as I'm reading it, right at that moment, John grabs the letter out of my hand.
The hell do you think you're doing?
I said, "What are you reading?" And I think he had been watching me on the camera. I think he knew he was caught.
Is that a letter from prison? John, do you know that man?
What are you doing snooping around in my mail?
And he says to me, "It's one of the guys that I send care packages to."
Well, I just don't understand why an inmate would be writing to you.
He said, "I'm sending gift packets to men in jail." And he said, "You know, a lot of people are in there for the wrong reasons, and I just care about people, and I think this makes the difference in their day."
What are you talking about? Who is he?
I asked him, "Were you in jail?" And he looked at me and he said, "I haven't spent one day in jail. What are you talking about?"
Just because we're married doesn't mean I have to answer to you, and it definitely doesn't mean you can go around opening my mail.
And he said, "You're committing a felony." And I said, "What are you talking about?"
I can have you arrested for this.
He wouldn't answer my question. And obviously at that point, I now know that this is not the man that I thought I married.
Stay out of my business, Deborah.
I'm realizing that he's been lying to me, but I didn't know the extent of who John was. It was definitely a turning point, and I needed to figure out what I was going to do. At this point, I thought I was his next victim, and he's out to get me. There were times, a few months after the marriage, that some things started happening that I noticed. getting the cameras, the pills, the letter, I realized that John had a very suspicious side to him at that point. And yet I felt confronting him, I'm not going to get a straight answer. And so as my suspicions grew, I decided to walk into John's office and look around and see what was there. I found different Social Security cards, just a lot of different names, other than just John Meehan. And in this trash can, there were 329 pages of a lawsuit. I started reading through them and realized John was not who he portrayed whatsoever. What I read was shocking. Extortion, stalking, him having a gun, restraining orders, drug abuse. There was one paper in particular that really caught my eye and really scared me. And it was showing evidence of a prior conviction of John being arrested and what they found in his place. He had cyanide, he had guns, he had knives, he had zip ties, and I thought, cyanide. This is crazy. What's he doing? What's he up to? The other thing that really scared me was I read document after document of women that he had strangled, victims out there that he was still harassing, women that changed their names because they're still in fear of him. And he had been in jail 3 days before I met him. He was so not the person that I thought he was. At this point, I thought I was his next victim, and he's out to get me. I knew I had to do something to get out safely. I hired a private investigator to help me figure John out and also how to get away very safely. I saw my kids in private and would pretend like I'm at work that day. I, little by little, tried to understand the mind of a sociopath predator. But John had the capability of killing me. So that's why I took preparation for months. You have to do it very carefully and very slowly. You can't do it overnight or they're going to figure it out. With John, I acted like nothing was wrong. I never reacted. I had to play his game and get to a point of being safe myself. So I was moving money around. I was changing my passwords, and there was $30,000 that I had put in the bottom of a lingerie drawer. That was cash for me running, and somehow John found it. One day I came home, and John was standing there, and he had the cash in his hand, and he showed it to me. He said, "What is this?" I'd been busted. John knew something was up. He didn't know what was up, but he knew something was up. I knew that I had to get out, and I rushed to leave. He stands in front of me, and I'm inches away from him, and he's pushing at me. And he kept saying, "Hit me, hit me." I realized at that point he had caught on. He knew what was happening, and I said, "I'm not going to hit you." He says, "Hit me because you'll never get up again." I said, "Move aside. I'm leaving you right now." I felt like my life was in danger, and all I could do was hurry as fast as I can to get out of there so that he couldn't do anything to me. And I just sort of ran to my car and took off as fast as I could. This picture I didn't see until way after the fact. I believe this was one of the times he was arrested. I'm going to say in 2013 when he went to jail. It's amazing that I actually thought I fell in love with a man that I thought was a good man. And knowing that I was in the same bed with him night after night and knowing what he was capable of was pretty crazy. He was going to bury me in the backyard. He couldn't wait to strangle me. I will kill you and take everything you've ever had. The final straw was John had caught on. He saw how much money I'd taken out of an account. I think I had removed a good $30,000 that day. And he came to me and he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm leaving you." And he said, "You can't do this. We're married. What kind of wife are you?" John was extremely mad at me. And he would send me very, very threatening text messages all the time. "You think I'm going to allow your family to continue? Feel sorry all you want. I don't care. I have pictures and emails. Don't test me." And he would put nude photos of me online, and some were a lot worse than this. Some were that I will kill you and take everything you've ever had. He was going to bury me in the backyard. He couldn't wait to strangle me. When I started getting these texts, I was scared for my life, and I went into hiding. I actually went to a store and bought dark wigs, changed my clothes. I ended up staying in hotels. I had to change my whole routine. I remember shaking all the time, couldn't eat, and I had no idea what he was going to do. I was in hiding 8 months. Every time I got a text from him, my heart would just drop and I would be in a panic. There were thousands of threats that I wouldn't see the end of the day, and don't plan on waking up tomorrow. I mean, they went on and on and on, so that's why I was in constant fear. I would change phones and he would know how to call work and say, "I'm a client, I need to get a hold of her, I don't know how." He would send me, "Boo, I found you. You can never hide from me." Like, the next corner you're going to turn, he's going to be there and kill you. One of them was, "I hope you went to church today, because I have a really bad feeling about you." I didn't want to even leave my hotel room. I was afraid to even go down the hallway that he would grab me or have somebody grab me. You're in constant fear. It's horrifying. You don't know any way out. Couldn't think about anything else except trying to figure out where I'm going to hide next. I felt like it was almost easier to die than to keep living in this nightmare. This next one was pretty bad. No more being nice. This will turn an entire family inside out. You're selfish to allow this. You'll never forgive yourself for what I'm about to do. Well, I had no idea what he was going to do, but obviously I felt like he was definitely capable of killing me.
At the time, I was working as a dog groomer. One day at work, I get a phone call. It's very chaotic in the back because the dogs are barking because they want to get fed. And I take this call, and it's this French guy. The man said he had seen me before and he wanted to bring his dogs in for grooming. I thought it was weird when a man called me with a French accent, but I was so preoccupied in trying to get these dogs fed and with getting barked at for a meal, you would just want to get the person off the phone as soon as possible. So I give him my schedule as quickly as possible, and we book an appointment for the next day during my lunchtime where the dogs could come in and get groomed. I didn't realize it was John. He was trying to get my schedule. The following day, at the time where the dogs were supposed to come in to get groomed, and they were a no-show.
Newport Beach 911. Someone's been stabbed. I'm not really sure what happened. We just heard screaming.
I went to work on August 20th. I got the okay from my boss to get off a little bit early, and I went home. I noticed that there was a guy fiddling with the tire iron. My dog was barking at him, and I told my dog to knock it off because I thought it was a homeless guy just living in his car. I proceeded to get my dog out of the back seat. Then this guy grabbed me. I looked up at him and he said, "Do you remember me?" I did remember him. It was John. He started what I thought was punching me, and he was punching me over and over again. I didn't realize I was stabbed. I just tried to push him off me, and I ended up on my back. I ended up stumbling backwards, and at this point I see the knife, and I knew he was there to kill me. I kicked the knife, and it fell directly on my right hand side. When it felt like that, I felt like it was from above, like either my guardian angels or God or my guides looking after me. It was just how it landed. It was meant for me to survive. I was meant to live. So I picked it up and I just started wailing on him, and I didn't give it a second thought. I thought that I was stabbing him in the chest. I later found out I stabbed him in the back. I stabbed him once in the forehead, and I put it into his eye. He gasped, and he started to fall on top of me. I pushed him off of me, and he just was what I thought was dead. And then I tossed the knife as far as I could away. I scooted away from his body. I continued to scream for help. And then this lady walks up, and she just started telling me that she's EMT trained and that she's trained for things like this.
Newport Beach 911. Someone's been stabbed and he attacked a girl. It's a girl and her dog, and then a guy is on the ground. I'm not really sure what happened. We just heard her screaming. What? Here. Yes, and the guy's just on the ground.
Then at that point, there was other people started coming to the scene. This guy came. He went over to John, and he started to check up on him and make sure that he was okay.
Police, do you have an emergency?
Yeah, we do. We got,
stabbing west to
come on.
the woman.
Breathe, come on.
You said it's a male and a female?
Breathe.
The male's not doing well.
Breathe.
Okay, female's there. Hold on one second. Hold on one second.
I told them, not to touch him, but they wouldn't listen. And I told them that he tried to kill me, and I think I kept repeating that because they still were trying to revive the guy who tried to kill me. I was hysterical, and I couldn't breathe. And then I just realized I need to call my mom. So I called my mom, and I told my mom, "I'm so sorry, Mom. I think I killed your husband. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry."
Getting that call and listening to Tara, it's so surreal. You're hearing your daughter call saying that she killed your husband, and you're like, what? What are you talking about? She said, I killed John. I'm so sorry. And I said, it's okay. Where are you? Are you okay? And all I remember is just rushing to get there. And you go through the guilt. Why wasn't it me? Why didn't he stab me? She's going to have to live with this. But I get there, and they won't let me go to her. They said, ma'am, it's been a crime scene. You have to stand behind the yellow tape. And Tara's yelling, Mom, Mom, and I'm yelling, Tara, Tara. And I'm seeing this ambulance drive by me, and I'm realizing John's in that ambulance. But I don't really know exactly what's happened, if he's alive, dead. I didn't know the story at that point.
freaked out at that point because in the movies, the guy always gets up, and that's when the girl dies.
Please. Mom!
This is a picture of Cash and I in the hospital. I hate this photo so much because I remember the moment they were taking it, and I literally don't know what to do. Usually when someone takes a photo of you, you smile, you're happy. And in this moment, I felt like maybe I should smile. And I remember holding my arm and thinking, what's wrong with these people? They're literally taking a photo of blood gushing out of my arm and not putting stitches in it or anything yet. And they have to take this photo for evidence. This photo ends up everywhere. And I just wish it would disappear. I'm sorry. This is another hard one. When I went to the hospital, there was people that I didn't know that were touching me all over the place and poking me with needles. I just wanted my mom.
She's not here right now.
What?
Where is she?
But they told me that she went to the other hospital to see her husband.
Get my mom in here now, please. Mom! Mom!
Calm down. And that really hurt me because just the way they said it, they didn't tell me that she needed to identify him. They made it seem like she wanted to be with him. And so that was so hard to hear that.
Please. Mom! Please. Mom!
And I just wanted her to protect me. That was the hardest part. Was knowing that this guy came after me and then she's supposed to protect me and she can't.
They won't let me go to her. They said you need to identify the body at the other hospital because he's right now John Doe. He was on life support, tubes everywhere. They told me there were 13 stab wounds, but one had gone through his eye to his brain, and that he had had multiple strokes, and that he would be brain dead. When I looked at his body, I thought, what a waste of a human being. He was brilliant. He really could have had it all. The guy just wasted his life. This photo here is when John was in the hospital. I remember looking at where the stab wounds were and looking into his eye, where the stab wound went straight into his eye. And all I could think of is, why? Why would he do something like this? How evil he was. And thank God it was him, not my daughter. I knew that there was a lot of healing that needed to take place, a lot of answers that I needed to figure out. And it was all about Tara at this point.
Oh my God. Tara.
It's okay, Mom. I'm all right.
The moment I got to see my daughter, I walked in there and just hugged her, and she cried, and I cried, and I was just grateful she was alive.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's not your fault.
When I saw my mom, I just had mixed feelings. I told her I knew this would happen because we warned her so many times, and she was unable to see the red flags.
I just never thought that he would do something like this.
Mom, Seriously, it's not your fault.
But I was so grateful that she was there and that I was able to hug her and that we're all alive.
Can we go home now?
Yes, baby.
It was very, very, very difficult. I had no idea that he would go after her. I just didn't get it. Why not me? I decided I don't believe anyone should die alone. So when they pulled the plug, I mumbled a few words to John. It's okay to go. I forgive you. After John died, we went to the crematorium to cremate John's body. As I was watching the box go into the fire, I couldn't help but think that he was going to be burning in hell. And I filmed it so that I could have closure. I felt like Tara, if she had nightmares about him coming back, I wanted to prove to her that he was completely gone and he would never come after her again. She's never seen it, but hopefully one day, if she ever questions or feels like John's here or whatever, I can show her that he's completely gone.
I thought because everybody else wanted me to be okay that I should be okay. But I wasn't. And I had a lot of PTSD to deal with. And I did blame my mom for what happened to me after everything because she did bring this guy into our life. I just wanted my mom to notice that there was red flags. And to know that this guy was evil. She may not have done it on purpose, but I wanted her to learn why it happened to us.
I felt guilt right away. A lot of guilt because I didn't protect her. Why didn't you see the signs earlier? I just felt so responsible. But I have to keep reminding myself that John was the evil one and I was the one just looking for love.
I've told my mom that I have forgiven her. And, things may not be perfect, but we're working on it every day. But I still need to work on feeling safe. I still have some triggers from my PTSD, and I occasionally have bad dreams because of what I went through. But it was a blessing in disguise. I found a life purpose now to talk and share my story and help other women and men that have been through similar experiences. I've gotten more positive responses than anything, and people that told me that they've actually left their abuser or that they were able to fight back with the attacker. So it's really important to me to continue, and that's why I do it. Look out for red flags in relationships because they are there and a lot of people brush them to the side, and it's time to take it serious because you can see what happened to me and it could happen to you.
John Meehan is an evil man that preyed on innocent victims and got a thrill from it. I will never understand everything. I'll never understand John's brain, why he did what he did, and that's something I just have to accept. There's evil out there, and I just happened to be the victim of this evil man, and I survived, but a lot don't.
Talking about my story some days gives me release. And other days, makes me nervous. I told about 85% of it. There's some that I will always hold back, that I'll never let anybody know about. There's always more to share. I'm just not ready. No, I don't want to be known as the kid that killed his father. And yeah, here I am. It's a hard pill to swallow. I know none of you guys here are judging me, but you just have to realize that is a huge, huge fear of mine. I don't want people, especially her, to know that, I'm hurting the way I am. I'd like everyone to think I'm fine, because, if they think I'm fine, maybe I'll think I'm fine. It's a picture of me and my dad. It looks like Christmas. My mom was kind of not in the picture. My grandparents and my father raised me. I remember my dad being hardworking. He was my protector. The first time I met Judith, I'm 4 years old. My dad said we were going to meet his new girlfriend. I remember her being really nice, really sweet, and I called her the lady with the yellow hair. She seemed funny, and I liked her. This would have been shortly after Judith came into my life. I look like a happy kid. If I could talk to that little boy, I would tell him to run and never look back. And if I couldn't run, to scream and not stop till somebody came. My dad actually worked nights at the time, and she had volunteered to watch me instead of me going to the babysitters. So a few days after the first meeting, I was actually dropped off at her house.
Behave. Listen to Judith.
You'll be fine.
Bye, bud.
Once my dad left, it's like a switch was flipped and Judith was an entirely different person. She had a daughter my age, so she had told me to go upstairs and play with her daughter. Judith had said the closet in her daughter's bedroom was off limits and that I was not allowed to go into it.
You scared of the dark? Oh.
We began playing, and Judith's daughter simply said, hey, get in the closet.
See how long you can last.
And as soon as I do, she yells for her mom, who comes upstairs.
Mom! He's in my closet!
And Judith is very unhappy with me.
Go downstairs, now! Right here. I thought I told you not to go in there. She told me to! Don't you blame her.
She grabbed me by the arm and then proceeded to spank me.
Ow!
A spanking from Judith usually involved a belt or anything she could get her hands on.
No! Please!
I was scared, really confused, and it hurt a lot.
No! Stop! Please!
After the spanking, I'm not allowed to talk, I'm not allowed to eat, and I'm not allowed to play with anything. I just have to sit there and be quiet.
See what happens when you don't obey me?
Before my dad got home, Judith pulled me from the corner and told me I wasn't to tell him anything and that I had fun so I could come back the next day.
Hey, hi!
Hey, bud. Go. Did you have a good day?
I wanted to tell my dad what she had done to me, but I guess something in me wanted to please her. I'm not really sure why. It's still not something I can explain or put my finger on, but for whatever reason, I just felt I needed to do whatever she said. So I followed her instructions, and when my dad got there, I told her it was fun and I was happy.
Yeah, it was fun.
That's good.
My dad, shortly thereafter, moved in with Judith. After that day, there wasn't any more private settings between me and my father. That was just the first step of control and manipulation. My dad worked nights and days, and he always seemed to alternate. When my dad's around, Judith is nice to me, allows me to be a kid. But I knew, as soon as my dad left, my night or day was about to become hell. Her daughter was allowed to do whatever she wanted, but I didn't have to do anything wrong. I was still being spanked every day. Sometimes she would choke me. I wasn't allowed to make noise or cry or try and stop her. If I did, I got it worse.
Corey. Come here.
Sometimes the bruising was so bad, I'd be forced to lay in a bathtub full of ice water. It was another form of torture. Sometimes she was feeling extra cruel. She would hold my face under the water as well. There were several times I would pass out.
I can't imagine being held underwater.
I might need a minute. Sorry. I'm sorry. It's been a while since I've talked about this. It's just a lot of fear coming back up. A lot of memories. She would revive me by beating me. I wanted to tell my dad about everything, but I was too afraid to. I knew what Judith would do.
Remember, keep your mouth shut.
And there was never an opportunity to say anything to him. He was usually back at work before I got up. When my dad is home on the weekends, I'm with my grandparents, so there's still no contact. The only thing I can do is try and not make her mad and do as she wants me to. Not long after moving in with Judith, she began telling everyone that she wanted to adopt me. She recorded me on several occasions, to convince my dad that, I liked her and she was this great person.
Want a good mommy or a bad mommy? Good mommy. Are you happy here? Yeah.
I'm still seeing my grandparents. I usually go every weekend to go visit them. I let them know that I wanted to live with them and not with my dad and Judith. But when Judith caught wind of it, one day when I was getting ready to go to my grandparents, Judith pulled me aside and said, "When you come back, you're gonna tell your dad that your grandpa hit you with a belt." She wanted to sever the tie between me and my grandparents. I knew if I didn't do what she said, I'd be beat and starved. She was there with my dad, and I remember her staring at me with a very stern look, and I could feel the fear inside of me, and I knew what she wanted.
What's wrong, honey? You look upset.
I don't want to go back to Grandpa's.
Why? What happened?
And so I told my dad that my grandpa was hitting me with a belt.
Grandpa hit me.
I loved my grandfather very much, and it was very hard to lie and tell my dad what he wasn't doing.
Come here. You don't ever have to go over there anymore.
My dad said that he would take care of it. My dad hired an attorney, and I was no longer allowed over there. After this, I have no communication with any of my grandparents. It's just my dad and Judith. I should have known that she was lying. I wish I would have known. I loved going to school. It was kind of my escape from everything. But one day at school, at recess, a teacher approached me and asked me why I was wearing a long-sleeve turtleneck in the middle of summer.
Corey, aren't you too hot in that?
No.
The reason I was wearing that turtleneck was to hide bruising that Judith had put on me.
Wouldn't you rather change into a t-shirt?
No, I'm fine.
She asked me if I wanted to roll up my sleeves or take the neck down, and I had told her no.
Oh, at least you roll the sleeves up, sweetie. I can help.
I sound okay.
Judith's favorite thing to say to me is that if I ever told anyone at school what was going on, that I always had to come home to her first. I lived in constant fear that Judith was going to kill me. So I just simply said it was my favorite shirt.
I just really like the shirt.
I understand.
I, more than anything, wanted her to ask me to take my shirt off just so she could see the bruising. But she never did. I'm probably 7 or 8 years old in this picture. The bruising was so bad. I was never allowed to wear shorts or short-sleeve shirts. I feel sorry for this kid. Kid that's wearing long sleeves in the summer, pants, turtlenecks, the one that's sitting on the swings with nobody around. If you see that kid or that child, I'd put them in your arms and ask them what's going on. And if they tell you something and it's too good to be true, it's more than likely too good to be true. Don't stop asking questions. Eventually, Judith forced me to start disobeying and being mean to my father to make my dad mad at me. Judith would simply say, "It's time," and that's when I would have to start acting out. I was to run around the house, breaking toys, breaking things, yell, scream, and just all around not listening to it.
Corey, slow down.
My dad would get extremely upset with me,
That's enough.
but it was always easier to do as Judith asked. I knew I had to do whatever Judith said just to survive.
Damn it, Corey! Look what you did!
If I did as Judith said, there would be a brief period where she was nice to me and not spanking me. All the time I wanted to be able to say something to my father, but I was never alone with him.
Get upstairs. Go to bed. Now!
I don't know why he's like this. He's been like this all day.
I always felt so small and out of place. Looking back, I think my dad was being manipulated just as much by Judith as I was, and it eventually felt like my father hated me. One night, Judith woke me up in the middle of the night and handed me a coffee cup and told me to go fill it with water and to throw it on my dad, who was sleeping. I never wanted to do anything to my dad, but it was easier for me to do as Judith said and upset him than the other way around. So I took the cup and walked to the room my dad was sleeping in. I threw the water on him.
What are you doing, Corey?
I remember my dad saying he was gonna beat me and Judith saying, no, you're not.
Robert, calm down!
Did you see what he did?
Yes, I saw.
Judith stepped out and told him to stop and protected me.
Take your pillow and go downstairs to sleep there tonight. I will handle him.
My dad just kind of looked at me, and I remember him saying, he wished I was never born.
You are such a pain in the neck, you know that? I wish I never had you.
My dad wanted absolutely nothing to do with me, and Judith seemed delighted in that fact.
He's really starting to hate you.
I remember Judith saying, I think he just doesn't like you. And when I was alone with Judith, she told me I did well, and life actually got a little easier for me for a while. This would be my dad and me. This was before Judith came into our lives. Every weekend we would be out fishing. My dad always had the biggest smile on his face. That's something I can always remember. I can see how much my dad loved me. If I could say anything to him, I'd tell him how much I love him and how sorry I am. I know he'd tell me that he loved me too, and that none of this would have been my fault. I just wish I could go back to that time and place and fix it or change it and prevent all of this from happening. I'm supposed to pull the trigger and shoot him and claim it's an accident. One day, I'm 10 years old. Judith pulled me aside and told me she had some news for me.
Corey, come on. Come over, sit down.
And proceeded to tell me that my dad was dying of brain cancer.
What?
She had said it was terminal and that it was inoperable.
He's only got a couple months left.
I was kind of devastated. My dad had seemed fine. I don't think he was sick or anything. I had wondered why he wasn't telling me, but Judith had said my dad didn't want me to know that he had cancer. But she has a plan that they've come up with to make sure that the family is okay.
Your dad is a good man, and he's thinking about our future, and he's got this great plan, but he needs your help.
My help?
She said the plan was that I was supposed to accidentally shoot him and kill him so that the family could get the life insurance.
You're gonna tell him that you want to learn how to hunt, and that you want him to teach you.
She says I'm supposed to pull the trigger and shoot him and claim it's an accident.
This is what he wants.
Why?
She said he wanted it to happen so that the family had plenty of money to survive on. But I'm not supposed to know it's his plan.
You're not to mention this to him at all, because it would break his heart if he knew. So you are going to pretend you know nothing.
I remember being some of the most confused I've ever been. I don't want to hurt my father in any way.
You understand?
And at the same time, I've Judith telling me what I need to do, and it's, at 10 years old, it's all perplexing. I just knew that if Judith told me to do something, I needed to do it. must have had the day off, and I asked him if he could teach me how to hunt, and he had said yes.
This is the chamber.
So he got the gun, and he showed me how to load it, cock it, hold it, aim it, the whole 9 yards.
You don't need to learn this at some point. Might as well learn from me, right?
My dad seems excited that I'm interested in something, and he's acting like my dad, like we're having a moment, like I almost feel like he's proud of me or excited or something.
This is important. Never pointed at anyone. Got it?
I watched him load it, unload it, and then he instructed me to do the same.
Go, give it a try.
In my head, it seems like he's proud that I'm going along with the plan. But I never wanted to hurt my dad. So, no matter if it was his plan or her plan, I just couldn't do it.
Nervous, huh?
I think about it every day.
Come on, stand back.
It was the last time I had a good time with my dad. Judith was in the house, and as soon as we walked in, her face turned.
Oh, you're back already?
Here you go. I'm gonna put this away.
Okay.
The look in her eyes, it's hard to describe. And I could tell she was getting angry.
What is the matter with you? I thought you knew what to do.
She asked me why I didn't do it yet, and I said I didn't know I was supposed to.
Did you forget about your dad's plans, or you just don't care?
I didn't think you wanted me to.
She said the next time I tell you to do something, I expect it to be done right.
If you don't do what I tell you to do, I promise you, you'll regret it. You understand me?
Yes.
I was getting home from school and I got off the bus. Judith was there. I just remember thinking to myself, why is she down here? It's kind of weird.
Hi, honey. How was school today?
Fine.
She had sent her daughter ahead and walked with me. She put her hand around my neck and said today was the day.
Stop putting it off. It's time.
She said that the gun was in the laundry room and I was supposed to go get it.
He's home sleeping right now, taking a nap.
I was supposed to take that into my dad's room and shoot him. And call the police and tell them that the gun went off when I was handing it to him. She actually left to go to her mother's house so she wouldn't be home. I go in the house and I see the gun in the laundry room. I grab it. And I go into his room. And I see my dad there. He's sleeping. He had no idea what was coming. But I thought it was my dad's plan and what he had wanted. I raised the gun and I pulled the trigger. Nothing had happened. I was freaked out. The thought I was having was maybe the gun's broken and I'm not gonna have to do this. At the same time, my thought was, well, Judith is probably gonna beat me if I don't do it, so I pointed the gun and to try it again. I was thinking it was broken, nothing was gonna happen, and that's what I was really hoping on. Pulled the trigger, and sure enough, it went off. I was just standing there and I heard him take one last, deep breath or a gasp or something. And there was was nothing. I just wish I would have known then what I know now. I wish I could have been strong enough. I wish I could have told. Wish I could have told anybody. I wish I could have told Judith no. I wish at the least, maybe I would have turned the gun on myself rather than have to done any of that and lived with it. I don't like to cry. It always makes me feel better, and I don't want to feel better. I wish I would have known. I wish my dad was still here. I wish that every day I'd gladly take his place.
What happened, honey? Calm down. Who got shot? Your dad got shot? Okay. Where did you get shot at?
An officer arrived first, and he grabbed me and said, "Oh no, he's gone." And then took me outside, and the detective wanted to talk with me.
Accidents happen, son, you understand? You can't beat yourself up about it. It's gonna be okay.
By then, Judith had just gotten there,
Let me go! My husband is in there! I need to see him, please! Please let me in!
and she was behaving as if she'd just lost her husband. I mean, she was acting hysterical.
Corey, what happened to your dad?
When the detectives were around, she was trying to comfort me. But after that, she just totally different person. I remember saying, I better not mess this up and stick to what she told me to say. And I was crying, and she told me to quit crying. I knew then that she didn't care. I had taken my father's life, and it was something I was gonna have to live with, and I felt that. What scared me the most was if Judith found out that I did tell somebody. She would have probably killed me. The day after my dad passed, she was on the phone with the insurance company trying to get a check. She collected upwards of $500,000 from my father's life insurance. And then she went shopping, new furniture, new cars. It seemed as long as she had money to spend and was out shopping, that she was being nice to me. The beatings slowed down. They're still there, but not as often. Life, unfortunately, got a lot better for me. It's a picture I haven't seen in years. This would be the classic sports car that Judith bought for me. This is a rare, genuine smile from me at this time in my life. Some days after school and on the weekends, if I was lucky, I was able to get the car out and give it a good shine. And that was something I thoroughly enjoyed. Anytime I was cleaning it or sitting in it, I was just envisioning the day I got to leave with that car and leave my life and Judith. Plan was when I turned 16 to get my license and get out of there. But I think she knew deep down that I was going to be leaving any chance I got. When I turned 16, she actually sold the car. As I got older, I began to rebel, and the more she said, the less I listened, and I didn't want to do anything she said. As the money begins to run out, Judith begins to start disciplining me at a more frequent rate.
Corey, hurry up!
One morning I was getting ready for school. I guess she thought it was taking too long.
Are you deaf? Did you not just hear me calling you downstairs?
I wasn't done yet.
You weren't done yet? You weren't done? You weren't done yet?
She grabbed me and started beating me, asking me what was wrong with me, and why I wasn't listening.
The next time that I call you, you answer me.
I was just tired of everything. I was tired of her.
This is my house. I make the rules. You got it?
It was just kind of the last straw.
Get downstairs.
I knew right then and there that I wasn't coming back home. Judith would keep tabs on me. She always seemed to know what I was doing and where I was at. One day, me and my friend were outside playing catch, and Judith drove by.
Corey!
Hold on a second.
Come here. Want to talk to you.
I thought she was there to grab me or take me away.
When are you coming home?
I'm never going back there again.
When I told her I wasn't coming home, she got mad at me, and she told me that she had a tape recording of me actually shooting and killing my father.
Get in the car.
She said she had a hidden camera in the room, which was able to show that my dad was sleeping the entire time. She recorded me on several occasions, so I just assumed she was telling the truth. She said if she showed the police that I'd spend the rest of my life in jail.
Just remember, if you ever tell anybody about what happened, I'm going right to the police with that videotape. And then we'll see where you wind up.
Between knowing that and her constantly watching me, I just felt like I was close to a breaking point. I realized Judith was just manipulating me into whatever she wanted me to do. And I started to question whether my dad actually had cancer or not. I began having nightmares about my father about every night. I contemplated suicide a lot. I tried to commit about 27 times, from pills to jumping in front of a train. It was the guilt. I didn't want to live knowing I'd killed my dad, and just didn't know how to get it off my chest. I would sneak out of the house at night, lay on the tracks, and wait for a train to come by. I always got out of the way at the last second. I couldn't do it. I walk into the principal's office, and I see the same detective that showed up when my dad had passed away, and I knew instantly what it was about.
But I need you to tell me exactly what happened.
This would be my English report. As a senior, we were giving a writing assignment to write about something that nobody else knew about. Our English teacher was very specific and said it was for her eyes only, and she wouldn't be telling anybody else. I decided to write about what actually happened to my dad. Yes, I did kill him, but not the way everyone thinks. I'm so sorry, Dad. I hope you've forgiven me. I don't know if this is 1,500 words. I'm not going to count them. I trust you, and I think you'll do the best thing with this. Please forgive me. I'm really not a bad person. It was all Judith. I'm glad I wrote the essay. I don't know if I could have ever told somebody face to face. It's the first time I ever admitted to anybody or told anybody. A few days after I wrote this is when the detectives met me at school.
Have a seat, Corey.
I walk into the principal's office and I see the same detective that showed up when my dad had passed away, and I knew instantly what it was about.
I need you to tell me exactly what happened.
They asked me if I had some information about my father that I'd kept a secret for a long time, and I told them I had.
It wasn't an accident.
I told them that Judith forced me to shoot and kill him. I told them everything. How Judith told me to set things up, how to dial 911, and what to tell the cops when they got there.
Judith said he had terminal cancer and wanted to go out on his own terms.
When they were done with their questions, I asked them when I'd be going to jail.
No, Corey. Not here to arrest you. Judith is who we want.
They told me I wasn't going to jail, that it wasn't my fault. It was a shock. I had prepared myself that I was going, and I was in disbelief that I wasn't. It was the best I'd felt in a long time, but the goal was to collect enough evidence to make an arrest on her. It was such a relief. That felt great. I felt like a new man. I no longer had to, look over my shoulder or worry about anything. I was pretty much living carefree, and it was great. It shocked me to my core. I thought I was done with this. It is my understanding that the appellate court thought I was dishonest. And also, much of the evidence was, in their words, strictly circumstantial based on what I said. I was determined to make sure she was found guilty again, but all of a sudden they informed me that a plea deal had been reached, that there was not going to be another trial. She entered a guilty plea, but it was a Alfred plea. And basically that means she still says she's innocent, but admits that a jury would probably find her guilty based on the evidence. I still can't, make sense of the fact that she's going to be out in a few years. 10 years, a slap on the wrist compared to life. She got away with the murder of my father. When she gets out, who knows what'll happen. I think Judith probably has a revenge plan. I gotta look out for my son. That's first and foremost. I want to be the dad to my son that my dad didn't get the chance to be to me. It's taken a long time to feel forgiven by my dad. I at least hope I am. I think he'd be proud of me. But I still have fighting to do. I still have people to protect. Still gotta make sure Judith doesn't get to do this to anybody else. I never get to rid myself of her. I just don't know what else I'm supposed to do to be done with her. Life's not fair, but I don't know why it had to be me. I wish it wasn't.
It is so hard to know that my daddy murdered all these people. My heart is breaking. I feel so ashamed. I just can't believe my daddy took so many lives. So many lives. My daddy told me that there were a lot more, but nobody would never find him. People come up and ask me, well, who is your daddy? And I always say, my daddy was Pee Wee Gaskins. He was a mass murderer. He was also my daddy, and I loved him. Most people only know the bad parts about Daddy. No one really knows he was a good father. He was loving, he was understanding, and he always wanted what was best for me. At the same time, my father was evil. He was evil. I mean, anybody that can do what he did was evil. This is myself when I was about 6 years old. My daddy wasn't really too much a part of my life when I was small because he was in and out of prison. I don't know why. I would ask Mom, where's my daddy? Why isn't he here? And my mama always said, your daddy's away and, he'll come back one day. But she never told me that my dad was in prison. She never told me any negative about my dad. I was very happy at this time, very happy. I never dreamed I would have to go through what I did. I was born on April 17th, 1952, in a little town called Prospect, South Carolina. The very first thing I remember about my dad came to the house, and I was excited to see him because I hadn't seen him in a long time. I remember him going in our house, telling Mama to get me and get in the car. I didn't know what was happening. So, we got in the car, and then he locked the doors. But before we could leave, cops pulled in and surrounded him.
Donald Gaskins, stop right there.
They just come flying in there with their guns drawn and was telling Daddy to get out.
Please exit the vehicle with your hands up.
That's when I noticed that Daddy had a gun. He was holding the gun towards my mama and telling my mama not to move.
Donald, what's going on?
Honey, stay here, don't move.
I was terrified. I kept holding on to my mama, begging her, I want to get out, Mama, I want to get out.
Daddy, what's happening?
Just be quiet now. Everything's gonna be okay.
Kept saying, baby, don't scream, don't say nothing, just sit here. Mama's with you. It's gonna be all right. The law enforcement kept talking to him, asking him to please let us go. And, he kept saying, no, I'm not gonna let him go. You tell me I can leave.
You gotta trust me. Your daddy ain't gonna let nothing happen to you.
Finally, after a couple of hours, he did let me out. He released my mama. And when Mama got out, they just covered the car and drug him out of the car. It was a horrible feeling, seeing him, throw him on the ground and handcuff him. I was crying, I was begging Mama, please don't let him hurt him. And they put him in the back of the police car. I asked Mama what they're doing to Daddy, and she said, baby, he did something wrong. Now they got to punish him. Just like when you do something wrong, you have to be punished. He went to prison for a long, long time, and I didn't see him anymore until I was in the 3rd grade. But Mama never told me why he was running from them. Nobody ever told me why. lot of memories behind this picture. This was the year that the children was picking on me and making fun of me because I didn't have a dad. But then my dad got to come home. I was so happy that my daddy was back. I could go to school and tell everybody, hey, I've got a daddy now. But, you know, they still picked on me and they still bullied me. I remember one specifically day that my dad and I was outside playing ball, and I was really upset because the kids had been really, really mean to me that day.
Honey, is there something bothering you?
No. He kept saying, what's wrong? And I'd keep saying, nothing, Daddy. I didn't want to tell him because I didn't want him to feel bad or anything.
I know when something's bugging you, and I think this is the time.
It's the other kids at school.
Said people's making fun of me at school. They're picking on me, making me cry. He said, wait just a minute, baby. He said, we'll fix that.
You wait right here, okay? Got just the thing.
So he went to the car, and I remember him coming back, and he had a loaded pistol.
You take this.
What's this for?
And he gives it to me. And he tells me to take it to school with me, and if they kept on picking on me, to pop a cap in them.
Next time those kids bug you, you show them this piece.
He showed me how to release the safety, and he said, just point it and shoot. He just told me to go hide it, and don't tell my mama.
You hide that under your pillow, and she won't find it there.
I wanted to do what my daddy told me to do, but yet I knew that it was wrong. It kept bothering me. I mean, I can't do this. I can't do this. I said, I gotta tell my mama. She was furious, and she calls the cops, and they come and pick the pistol up. I really don't remember what they did with Daddy, but I didn't see him for a long time. He got out of prison when I was 15. I was married, and I was fixing to have my first child. I thought, well, maybe he's changed. He's going to stay out this time. But that's the very first time I've ever seen my daddy do anything to hurt me. I've always loved pets. I've always loved animals all my life. I did have some cats.
Tabby!
I never put two and two together that, he was killing them. But every time he would come, my cat would disappear.
Tabby, where are ya?
We couldn't find him.
Have you seen Tabby anywhere?
Afraid not.
I was sad, but he said, they don't need to be in the house. Animals are supposed to be in the yard.
That's so strange. She hadn't been around all day.
Why do you care?
Daddy didn't like animals, and especially cats. He could not stand cats.
Probably outside where it belongs.
But I didn't know why my cats would disappear till years later. Now, as I look over the years, it could have been that he just needed to kill that cat instead of going out and killing somebody else.
Oh my God, what happened?
People started coming to the house and just disappearing. They never was seen again. This picture was my daddy, myself, and my cousin Janice Faye. And that was my daddy's sister daughter. We were pretty much the same age, and we were best friends. We just hang around the house and talk girl talk. We told each other everything. When I had my baby, she came and stayed with me to help me out. My daddy and Janice Faye was always close. I can't imagine him ever wanting to hurt her. one afternoon, my Aunt Inez and Uncle Lamar came to my house, and they asked me, had I seen Janice? Was she at my house?
Hey, y'all, what a surprise. Daddy's not here right now, but if you want to come in.
Actually, Shirley, we're looking for Janice. We were hoping she was here with you.
And I told them no, that I hadn't seen Janice. She said, well, Janice had been missing for 3 days.
We haven't seen her or heard from her for the past few days. We were thinking maybe she ran away.
I don't think Janice would do that.
Her friend Patricia was missing with her. They were both missing. I was worried because, I hadn't heard anything.
You'll let us know as soon as you hear from either of them, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
So I started asking people had they seen Janice, and no one had seen Janice.
Hey, honey.
When my daddy came over that weekend, I asked my daddy, Daddy, have you seen Janice?
Have you heard about Janice? No one's heard from her in a few days.
I've heard you.
But he showed no emotions. And he said, no. He said, I've been looking for her. He said, I don't know where she is.
Well, I've been talking to people around town. Nobody has seen her. Could be she just ran away.
But I knew Janice didn't run away from home. Janice wasn't that kind of girl. She would not have worried her mom and daddy like that.
I know something's not right. Janice wouldn't do something like that, Dad. Not without telling me first.
And if Janice Day would have run away, she would have come to my house. That's how close we were.
Wherever she is, I'm sure she's doing fine.
Weeks turned into months. No word from Janice. Nobody knew where she was.
Now, let me go see my granddaughter.
Law enforcement said it had to be a runaway. They labeled her as a runaway. Years later, they found Janice Faye in a shallow grave down in Prospect, South Carolina, and they found Tricia Albrook in a septic tank in Sumter. Daddy had murdered them both. At this moment, just looking at my daddy and Janice Faye, it makes me angry. I try to block it out. I'm angry, sad, all in 1 minute. It was very hard to think my daddy had done it. Was evil. Nobody wants to believe that their parents is evil. We moved to a little place called Roper's Crossroads, and I had 2 more children. Daddy was living in Charleston this time. That's when all the people started disappearing. One afternoon, Daddy came to my house, and he brought this woman and baby, which was Doreen and her daughter Robin. They were friends of my daddy's.
Hey, Shirley. Can I ask you a favor?
I fixed them all something to eat, and he was telling me his house had just burnt down, and he said he had nowhere to stay at the time.
Well, Doreen and Robin are in a bit of a tough spot right now. They need a place to stay.
I didn't have enough room for everybody because my kids shared 1 bedroom, and there was my husband and I.
I don't know. I mean, the kids are already sharing 1 room. I don't know if we've got the space for 2 more people.
I told my daddy that I just did not have room for Doreen and the baby, that there was just not enough room.
Yeah. Okay.
He said, well, go ahead and give Robin a bath and put some clothes on her. I'll take her and Doreen to a friend's house, and they can stay there until, we can do better.
You go get the baby cleaned up. I'll talk to Doreen.
Okay.
I put her in the bathtub and dressed her in my daughter's little pink sunsuit. I remember telling her that I loved her and that I would see her soon. Doreen gave me a hug, and I told her I was sorry that I didn't have enough room, and she said she understood. Her and Daddy left.
Hi, Daddy.
Hey, sweetheart.
And he was gone for about 2.5 hours, and when he come back, I said, Daddy, where did you take Doreen?
Did you find a place for Doreen and the baby?
Yep, we did.
He said, just to a friend's house. I said, well, who was it?
Which friend?
No one you know.
Oh.
I was raised as a little girl. When an adult tells you something, you accepted what they said. I believed it. I never seen Doreen and the baby again. This is Doreen and her baby Robin. I haven't seen these pictures in a very long time. She was such a beautiful baby. I am so angry with my daddy for doing such an awful thing to this baby. I just feel like, why did they have to go so young? I still feel guilty. I mean, right now, in my heart, I feel like that I'm the reason that they're not here anymore. Why didn't I let them stay with me? Late one night, my daddy came over.
Oh, hey, Shirley.
I went to give him a hug, and I seen that there was blood all over his hands.
Oh my gosh, what happened?
I mean, there was a lot of blood on his hands. I mean, his hands was covered in blood. And I said, are you hurt, Daddy? And he said, no. I said, well, what's that blood doing on your hands?
It's okay, I hit a deer.
He proceeded to say that the deer run out in front of him, and he hit the deer, and I had to drag it off the road.
That's an awful lot of blood.
Yeah. Guess it was dark. So dark I didn't see it.
And around where I stay, deer run out in front of you all the time, and I have hit a couple myself.
Well, do you want me to wash those for you?
No. I'll take care of it at home.
He said, I got to get back home. I got to work in the morning. I'm going to throw these clothes away.
Oh, well, let me walk you out.
Okay.
But I walked him out to the car, and I looked at the car, and there was not a scratch on the car. It's kind of hard to believe that you hit a big deer, that it's not going to mess up your vehicle. But, I never questioned Daddy. I just figured, that's what he said, so I guess that's what happened. I asked my daddy, why did he do this? And he would say that every so often he just had that urge to see blood. He had to see blood. My husband and my daddy, they got along real good. They were very good friends. One day, him and my husband was outside, and he told my husband, he said, let's go kill a deer.
What, right now?
Yeah, right now.
My husband said, are you sure you want to go kill a deer? And Daddy said, yeah, let's go kill a deer. He said, I just want to see some blood.
Got the guns?
People back in South Carolina, go hunting all the time. That's nothing unusual.
Come on, this will be fun.
He was very excited when they were gutting that deer. He was just having a great time doing that. Years later, when I went to see him in prison, he would say that every so often he just had that urge to see blood. He couldn't be still till he seen blood. Walter Neely was my daddy's best friend, and Walter used to come down to my house with my daddy a lot. Well, it was one night, Daddy and Walter came up, and these two boys came up with them. Johnny Knight and Dennis Bellamy, they were half-brothers. I'd never seen them before. I didn't know it at the time, but he had a theft ring going on. They would steal the cars and bring them to my house and hide them. I came out and I started talking to Daddy.
How's it going?
It's going fine.
And Daddy said that he was just buying cars to fix them up, to sell them, to make extra money.
You boys ready to wrap it up?
It was getting dark. And Daddy said, well, we got to go somewhere. We've got some things we got to do. And they left. Later on that night, maybe about 12:30, Daddy came back by the house.
Hey, Daddy, what are you doing here?
Hey, honey, I didn't mean to wake you.
I said, well, where's the boys? He said, they've already gone back. They drove one of the cars back to Charleston. I remember seeing blood on his hands. And I asked him, I said, Daddy, what'd you do?
What happened? Are you hurt?
No, I hit another deer.
He said, you know how plentiful deers are. He said, another one run out in front of me.
I didn't mean to wake you up. Look.
He said, I got to go. He was in a big hurry. He was rushing. He didn't want to have to take time to talk to me that night.
You go back to sleep, all right?
He just left.
I'll see you next weekend.
Okay. Good night, Daddy.
Johnny Knight and Dennis Bellamy. I never seen these boys again. Daddy never said anything about them. They found them in a shallow grave in Prospect. But at the time, I wasn't suspicious, because a lot of people came and, would leave and, I would never see them again. So, I really wasn't concerned or anything because I just figured, that they went back to Charleston. One day, my daddy asked me to go into the trailer to clean it, and I said, sure, Daddy. I didn't go in the trailer maybe 2 or 3 times the whole time that it was there. I go in there and I dust and I wipe stuff down. I opened the closet to put something in the closet, and that's when I found the shoes. And it was a great big old pair of brown and white Oxford shoes. It kind of puzzled me because my daddy had a very tiny foot like I do. I said, no, I know they can't be Daddy's. Daddy's foot's not that big. I knew they were not my dad's shoes. Later that night, I asked him about the shoes.
Daddy, I found these in your closet.
I said, Daddy, whose shoes are those?
They're not yours, are they?
No, they're not.
I was getting suspicious. Something was not right.
Well, where'd they come from?
And he told me that somebody gave him those shoes and they were too big, he was going to give them away. Just confusing, someone would give him a pair of shoes 4 sizes too big for him.
What's wrong?
It's just something's been bothering me lately.
I really started thinking, it's not normal for people just to disappear off the face of the earth and never be heard from again.
Don't you find it strange how many people can go missing around here?
Missing? What do you mean missing?
I said, what is happening? I said, people are disappearing. And, I never see them again. And he just said, they just don't want to come back around here anymore. They were friends or they moved out of state.
People move on.
Yeah, but it's just that...
Honey, I'm sure everything is fine.
And I said, are you sure, Daddy? And he said, yes. He said, I won't lie to you.
Ain't nothing going on. We have these, I'll take care of it.
My daddy had a very quick mind. He had an answer for everything you ever asked him, and he never thought anything about it. Later on, I learned that my daddy had murdered the boy that the shoes belonged to. They were Dennis Bellamy's shoes. I kept saying, no, it can't be her. It can't be her. Please tell me it's not her. People's disappearing, and I can't explain it. Why? And it's happening so much. I started thinking, I guess, a little bit more and wondering. One day my daddy came up and I saw a lady and her daddy was standing up in the yard talking. Walter Neely, my daddy's best friend, was there. I'd never seen the woman before. I came out the house. Daddy's back was towards me. He said he was going to fix everything. He knew how to fix it.
I can handle it. Don't worry about nothing.
Are you sure? I can't afford any mistakes,
And as I walked up, they hushed talking. It was like in the middle of a sentence, they just stopped talking.
Hi there.
Shirley? Hey, darling.
I knew he did not want me to hear what they were talking about.
This is a friend of Walter's.
It's nice to meet you. It's nice to meet you, too.
I said, what was y'all talking about? I said, y'all look so serious.
We're helping her with a little problem.
Is there something I can do to help?
No. Don't mind us. Why don't you go on inside where it's warm?
Then when I walked off, they stayed there for about 45 minutes, and they left. Later, I found out this lady was dating this rich farmer, and he had gave her a horse and a diamond ring. When they broke up, he wanted his stuff back. All of a sudden, he's missing. She had hired my daddy to kill her rich ex-boyfriend. My daddy buried him in a shallow grave right behind my house. I never dreamed my dad was doing any of this. Never. Kim Gillikin was a little 13-year-old girl that, this is very difficult to talk about her, I guess. I'm sorry about all of them, but she was a very special one, very special. My daddy brought her down to the house and said that her mom had died and she didn't have nowhere to stay. And he asked me, could she stay with me for the summer? And I really liked the little girl. She kept saying, please let me stay, please let me stay. And I couldn't say no. Kim always called me Grandmama. She lived with me for the whole summer. She was like a daughter to me.
Okay. All done and pretty as a picture.
But one day, I started washing dishes, and Kim said, well, Grandma, I'm going next door to get me something to eat. My mother-in-law lived right there across the yard, so she walked out the door.
Are you coming too?
I'll be over in a few minutes.
Don't take too long.
About 15 minutes, walked over to my mother-in-law's and I asked her, I said, where's Kim?
Have you seen Kim?
What do you mean?
Well, she said she was coming over here for dinner.
She said, Kim's not here. I said, what do you mean Kim's not here? She left the house about 15 minutes ago.
I haven't seen her all day, Shirley.
I was freaking out. I was scared. I was nervous.
Well, you gotta find her.
It was like she just walked out my front door and just vanished into thin air. And so that's when I called my daddy. I said, Daddy, have you seen Kim?
Daddy, I need your help.
He said, I have not seen Kim. I said, Kim wouldn't leave without, telling me, Daddy. I mean, that's one thing I know.
Okay, well, I'll come right over. We'll look for her.
Daddy, we don't have time for that. We gotta call the police.
I said, well, Daddy, I need to call the cops. He said, no. He said, let me see if I can find her first. Don't call the cops. He was very firm. Don't you call them cops. And that kind of raised some suspicious because, I figured he would say, yeah, go ahead and call the cops. We got to find this girl.
I'll be there as soon as I can. Just promise me you won't call anyone.
Okay. Please hurry.
I kept thinking to myself, this is not right. I had to do something. I did call the cops. I reported Kim missing. This was the first moment that I ever went against what my dad said, but I just felt like this was so important, this child missing. And, they kept searching for her, but we couldn't find her. Later on, I found out Kim was buried in a shallow grave right on the other side of my house. My heart's breaking because I'm so close to her. She was like part of my family. She was my daughter. A couple of days later, we were all in the backyard, stacking our wood for the winter, and we heard a bunch of car doors slam. As I turned the corner, my yard was full of law enforcement. They were everywhere.
What's going on over here?
They said, we have a warrant here to search the house for Donald Pee Wee Gaskins. He said, have you seen your daddy? And I said, no, sir, I've not seen my daddy.
I don't understand. Why would you need to search the property?
They said that they suspected him in some murder cases. My heart dropped to my foot. Little things that I did not pay any attention to, it started adding up. The blood on his hand, the people disappearing. It was an awful feeling.
I'm going to need to ask you a few questions.
Sir.
They went into Daddy's trailer and they found a pair of brown and white shoes. I remember hearing one of the officers say, these are one of the boys' shoes. Law enforcement asked me, do you know where your dad is right now? And I said, no, sir. They said, if your daddy comes back, he said, you're to call the Williamsburg Sheriff's Department immediately.
Yes, sir.
My daddy was up in the top of the tree during the whole time they was searching everything, watching them. And after all of them left, he came down. And he said, they're just trying to frame me. He said, don't believe what they're saying.
Shirley, I didn't do nothing wrong.
Well, then why are the police out there?
And he said, I don't want to get into it with you right now. I just got to go. I won't see you for a long, long time. And he left.
I don't have time to talk about it, but just tell the kids I love them.
I knew my daddy was running away. I knew he was trying to escape. It is so hard to know that my daddy murdered all these people. It was November the 20th. I'll never forget that day. It was a couple of weeks after he left my house that night, the last time I seen him.
Good evening, ma'am.
And there was two officers standing at the door.
Your father has been apprehended and taken into custody.
And the officers had told me that they had unearthed some bodies.
He's already shown us where he's buried the bodies.
I was done. I couldn't think straight. I was crying. I was beginning to realize that this was for real. I remember just starting to cry. It was the hardest thing in my life, I think, to really, accept the fact that my daddy was killing these people. That is Walter Neely. After Kim disappeared, they brought Neely in for questioning. because they knew that Walter Neely and Daddy was very good friends. He got scared and he just confessed that him and Dad had killed Dennis Bellamy. They arrested my daddy trying to flee out of Sumter in a taxi cab. That's my daddy right there. He's pointing to a graveside. And this is where they're digging it up. My daddy had his own private graveyard down in a little town called Prospect, South Carolina. I didn't see my daddy again until his trial. This picture is where they were taking my daddy into the courthouse to be tried. They found my daddy guilty and he was sentenced to death. I just started crying. And I couldn't stop crying. My daddy told me that there were a lot more, but nobody would never find them. He said he would go to his grave. He would never tell anybody where the rest of them was. The only one that he ever told me that he was really sorry about was my cousin Janice Faye. But that was the only one that he ever had any regrets about. I feel so ashamed that my daddy did this. I just wish I could change some of this. But I can't. The last day that I got to see Daddy on death row, I told him I loved him very much and I would always love him. And he said, "How can you forgive me?" I said, "Daddy," I said, "I forgive you for everything you've done." I said, "You're my daddy and you are so special to me. I'll always, always love you. Nothing's gonna change that." And then he said, "I love you with all my heart." And that's the last words my daddy ever said to me. Every time I tried to talk about it, I would, break down. But I went to a therapist, and once I got it all talked out, I finally started to heal. What helped me more than anything else through all this here, I went into foster care. I started taking care of other kids. I feel like that, if I can just shed a little bit of love and a little bit back into the world that he took out, maybe things won't be so bad. I know that he was an evil person. Anybody that can do what he did was evil. But you can't just turn love off and on like a spigot. You love somebody, you love them. And nothing will ever change there. I do love my daddy, and I'll love him for the rest of my life.
He's changed so much. It's hard to see what he's let himself become. But to be honest, I would almost not recognize him. And it's sad. Because he was so much part of my life. When I think about him now, it's like an empty hole. I know in my heart, before they put him to death, I need to face him one more time and ask the truth.
Lots of stains, discoloration, lots of negative activity. There's definitely a body underneath all that.
Seeing the results of what he did haunted me for years.
Medical cameras are now open. The one on the left, there's definitely been some body and definitely pain as well.
There is a lot of pain because the bottom line points to someone at one time I loved that did all this. It's hard to think about because it was a whole lie, all of my life. There was a lie. Howard and me were raised as cousins. Howard's mother was married to my uncle, Sam Thomas. So Sam kind of played a dual relationship in our life. He was my biological uncle, but he was also Howard's stepdad. Howard and I were together at Christmas time, birthday parties. I have a lot of good memories of when I was a kid. We lived in the country, so we could go outside and play, or we would sneak around through my grandparents' house. Nothing would have pointed to him being destructive or vindictive or manipulative. It's just, we were kids. We were around each other to about the time I think Howard was in high school when his mom divorced my uncle. I did not run into him again until around 1988, and we kind of struck up a friendship again.
I can't believe it's taken us this long to see each other again.
I guess what attracted me to Howard was just his personality. He could make me laugh. He was a good-looking guy. He come across as genuine, honest, sincere.
You look good.
You do too.
I had recently divorced, and I have 2 children of my own. He was a single father. Kelly, who is Howard's child, is the same age as my son, and things just kind of clicked. Kelly became like my own daughter, and within a couple of years, I did legally adopt Kelly. Once Howard and me got married, he treated my kids great. So it made our relationship perfect because that's what I wanted. I wanted a husband who loved me and loved my kids and would put us first. We were a close, what I thought was a close family, until things went wrong. Howard's first wife was named Deborah Weinecker. I was told they were, quote, true love, but I never met Debbie. Debbie had already disappeared. I was visiting with his aunt, and she was the one telling me Debbie's disappearance was still a mystery. She was there one day and gone the next.
When Debbie left Howard, he took it so hard.
According to Howard, everything was great, and supposedly she vanishes from her house one day.
He didn't tell me much. He just said that she left him and the kids one day. He never saw it coming.
No, nothing. All of her personal belongings was supposedly gone. There was no hospital records, no police records, no nothing to even trace her anywhere. No use of credit cards, no use of her driver's license being seen, nothing.
I never understood how someone could just walk out on their whole family.
From Howard's explanation, Debbie just walked off. We trusted what Howard said. From Debbie's family, they suspected that Howard had done something. They feel that he killed her and disposed of her body, well, they'll never find it. When I asked him what happened to her, he said, I come home one day, she was gone. He said, I have no reason to lie to you. He said, she was having some issues. Apparently, she just wanted to take a break for a while. And that was his only answer, was that she just decided to take a break. She just took off to get away from everybody. And by then, I was in love with him, so he wouldn't lie to me. To this day, her family still believes she was murdered. And I'm sure he killed her. Why he killed her, I don't know. I don't know how to feel. She's very pretty. She looks like a typical, probably still in her teens. She looks happy and like she's got a whole life ahead of her. Everybody told me Debbie was a very devoted wife, a very devoted mother. She put her kids first. No one has ever found enough to prosecute Howard for her too. And knowing that he could have done away with someone so beautiful, yeah, it could have happened to me as easy. And probably, if they hadn't arrested Howard, I would have been next. When you look back at stunts he pulled, it's like he had a pattern of wanting to commit fraud. Howard came by to visit me at work one day around my lunchtime and asked me to come inside, where he showed me that my van had been wrecked.
Oh my God.
The story was that his daughter had decided she wanted to learn to drive, and she drives my car down the road and puts it in the ditch and takes the whole side out.
Is she okay?
Yeah, she's fine.
He told me that he had talked to Kelly about what had happened to my van, that she was real upset about having tore up the van, and we should just let it go and not upset her anymore. So I let it go. But I go back and I think, my car, it was more dented, like someone had actually hit it with an object. He took the initiative to call the insurance company to set up the adjustment and have it all taken care of.
Hi, honey.
We have not received that check for the van. This is just ridiculous.
They gave a check. He wanted me to hold the check for a while and not do anything.
We already got that check.
I think he thought I would just sign the check over to him, and he would take the money and do whatever he wanted.
What'd you do with it?
I insisted that we had to have a second vehicle because of my schedule, so I took my check and I went and bought me another car.
You can't just go out and buy a new car without talking to me first.
He was very upset that I would not split it with him, or I would not wait several days to get a car.
We were supposed to discuss what we were going to do with this money.
I wasn't being fair to him. He should have part of it too. And if I'd have waited like he wanted, that money wouldn't have been there the next day. What he wanted the money for, I don't know.
Howard, you are overreacting.
At the time it was happening, it didn't dawn on me, but the patterns were there. It's just something, because I thought I was still in love with him, I didn't want to see. We got to a point where we could build our own home. It was like a family thing, so everybody would have what they wanted. And it was something that was supposed to be our forever home.
You know what I was thinking?
But we could be sitting and watching a movie, and he would say, we could burn this house and pay off what little bit we owe on it and still have money to build another house and owe nothing.
What are you talking about?
Just think about all the money we'd get from the insurance.
That's insane.
I would just look at him like, you're talking crazy. This is our home. Wasn't burning my house down for any amount of money.
This is our house. Our kids helped build this house.
It became strange when Howard kept mentioning it, because that wasn't him. To me, he was the person who would provide for us, take care of us, would protect us. It kind of made me start questioning of how far he would go to gain insurance money. But still, I'm in love with this guy, and it doesn't click. I just let it go, because I never thought he could be serious enough to take something away from all of us. And people may think I'm crazy, but I can't let myself be scared of him. And I won't let myself become his victim. It's hard to go back and look at photos. Most of them, I'll be honest, I have destroyed. During this time, he was very easygoing, happy, It's like everything was going perfect. I figured we'd be together forever. It's hard to believe when I look at this photo that he's the same person who told me that he killed people. The man in the photo is the one I fell in love with. I really just don't want to see that part of him. That part who he made me think he was, when in truth he wasn't. All those years were wasted. To where I thought my life was happy and everything was right. And then it would turn upside down and made it a whole lie. When Howard was driving a truck, I managed the business from behind the scenes. We trucked from one border to the other border, from north to south and east and west. He would be gone like Monday through Friday. He could be gone weeks at a time, especially if he'd done like a California-New York run. Normally I would book our runs, but Howard started having a change in the way he wanted to do stuff.
Hey there.
Hi, honey.
He all of a sudden took over getting his own loads. He portrayed it as a whole lot easier, less time-consuming manner than what we were doing.
How did your trip? Everything go okay?
Everything went great. I even picked up a little something for the kids.
But I couldn't track him. I could only go by where he told me he was, and then when I got the paperwork, where he said he was did not match up.
St. Louis. I thought you went from Texas to Florida this week.
When he was telling me that he was places and he wasn't, the feeling was kind of strange. It was like, okay, something about you and your story's not right. You're hiding something. But he always had a reason.
Well, finished up the job a day early. I figured I'd take a ride to St. Louis.
No matter what I asked or how I asked it, he had his smooth answer where it all made logical sense. Maybe his trucking was part of a double life. He had his family here and he had a different life than what he had with us when he was with his truck. He wanted to please his daughter, and I can see why. That's his daughter. That's his biological daughter, his only child. And he wanted to fit in. He wanted to relate to her. He wanted her to want to hang out with him. But he started doing stuff that I wasn't comfortable with being around. He started hanging out with her friends. Kelly was friends with Samantha Lemming. They went to high school together. Adam Krismer was Samantha's boyfriend. Howard was constantly taking Kelly and Adam and Samantha to the store. If they wanted to go out drinking, he went and got the beer. He just got more involved with wanting, at 40-something years old, of wanting to be a teenager again. And that's what he did. The first time that I became aware that Howard was hanging out with the teens was when I found them all at my house. I worked a third shift job, so normally I got home between 6:30 and 7. One time when I come home, there were kids just piled up under sleeping bags, blankets, sheets, whatever, all piled up together. There were probably 20 plus kids at my house. I was shocked. Howard was in our bed asleep, so I do wake him up and I ask him who's in my floor.
What the hell's going on in the living room?
And his explanation is there's some of Kelly's friends, they were over here playing, it got too late to take them home and their parents didn't want to come get them. His story of these kids is they did not get along with their family. So Howard was an outlet. He said he was a safe haven for them. They would have a place to stay.
Look, I don't think you understand what some of these kids go through at home.
My reaction was I wanted it stopped. I actually demanded that I do not come home and find this again. I told Howard it was inappropriate.
I'm serious. It's not right and it needs to stop.
But several times I would come home at night and you would see like snack papers laying around or my garbage can would be running over from so much in it. So I know that the kids were still coming. That's not kosher. There's more going on because 15-year-old kids, they don't hang out with a 40-year-old man. I don't care if they were friends with your kids. His relationship with the teens, it developed quite rapidly. What really broke the strain with us is it was New Year's Eve. Howard's nowhere to be found. His daughter's nowhere to be found. When he showed up the next day, I asked him where he went.
Where have you been?
And he said that his daughter wanted to go run around with her friends, so he took them running around, and he found out that they had rented a motel. And so he took them to the motel, and they were all drinking. So he decided to stay overnight, too, because he was drinking.
I thought I was doing the responsible thing.
The more I thought about it, the more mad I got. Why are you toting these kids around? They're underage. Where are their parents?
If you want to hang out with a bunch of teens, that's fine. You do that.
I want it out, and I want it out then. I didn't want to give it time to wait.
I'm done with you.
Howard and me had an agreement if we ever split up, I wouldn't fight him, Kelly. So, as soon as I could, I packed my kids up and we left. And I moved on with my life. He's a 40-something-year-old man. You're messing around with people's kids. If everybody else comes first, then I don't need him because he's not putting his priorities where they need to be. We still remain friends because I wasn't angry. I didn't hate him. It's just I wanted my life separate.
At the door entrance, and red and brown stain.
I was thankful that I got out of my marriage when I did. We could have been next on his list.
There's definitely a body underneath all that.
Sam Thomas was my biological uncle, but he was also Howard's stepdad. And we hadn't talked to him, I guess, in a few days. So we tried calling him on September 3rd, and we rang. He didn't answer, so the next day we tried again, and rang, nothing. The next day we're still calling early in the morning, still no answer. Nothing. Now, him not answering my phone calls didn't bother me too much until it went on for days. Something wasn't kosher. Howard knew that we were looking for Sam.
Hello, Howard.
Hey, Wilda.
Have you talked to Sam lately?
He said he had been up at Sam's house and Sam was fine.
Yeah, I saw him a couple days ago. Everything seemed fine.
Howard said, I think Sam took a trip and that Sam had mentioned something about an RV.
You know, I remember him saying something about buying a camper.
He did?
Yeah.
Don't worry about him, he's okay, kind of passed it off. So it was like Howard was making excuses at a point for us not to go up to the house.
Sam can take care of himself. He's gonna be just fine.
Okay.
But for him just to up and go without giving, somebody the heads up that he was going, it really didn't make sense. So after not being able to reach him for several days, we knew he had some health issues. Nothing major, but we still wanted to check on him. So I told him I'm going to drive up to the house and see what's going on. Everything in the house looks good, no struggle, no nothing. We looked around the house, his bed was made, everything. Nothing looked out of place. His furniture was there, his clothes was there, and Howard was with me. But he kind of more like followed like a shadow looking to see what we were looking at. He had a little bit of a nervousness to him. He wanted to hurry up. We don't see anything here, let's go. He wanted to get in and get out. At that time, his actions didn't raise suspicion because he made it appear as though he was helping. On afterthought, it's like he was looking to make sure you didn't see anything. It was more like he was overlooking you. Sam kept his medication on him, so if he was even going to be gone even a day, he would have took his medicine with him. But I searched the bathroom. I found that his pills was still in the bathroom cabinet, which I thought was odd, so I did make a mental note of it. Okay, that's one thing that's not right. My mom and my uncle went to the police for the first time and filed the missing persons report. And the sheriff's department answer is he's 73. He can go where he wants. So still at that point, they did not take us serious that my uncle was missing. We made our own wanted posters with one of the few pictures we had of Sam, because Sam wasn't much for having his picture made. And we took these pictures all over North Georgia, all over Chattanooga, Tennessee. When Sam disappeared, Howard was very supportive in trying to help us search. He agreed to put posters up. He agreed to, help in any way he could. I honestly thought he was concerned, so we hunted and we hunted. Some people recognized his name, but not his picture. Someone had attempted to use his credit card. Again, we notified the sheriff's department. We know something's wrong. This poster was our only way of trying to find him, but we made it too late. Because by the time we made it, he was already dead. And it breaks my heart that we didn't get to him soon enough. Able to get on the statements which showed the credit cards being used at certain places and asked them to pull the video. It was Howard and the teenagers with his credit card. I was shocked to see that it was actually Howard using the credit card.
Have you been using my uncle's credit cards?
What?
Don't lie to me.
Howard claimed that Sam had given him his credit cards because Sam was holding cash for him.
It's complicated.
Howard supposedly had $5,000 Sam was holding for him. Howard's explanation was, I gave Sam money. He gave me the credit card in case I could not get with him to get my money when I needed it. He claimed he had had them for months. However, the only time the credit card had been used was in the AM hours after Sam disappeared.
That don't make any sense.
That was a big red flag. Okay, what do you know? Where is Sam? And still his story was Sam said he was going out of town.
Look, I'm done talking to you. I think you should go now.
Very suspicious.
Okay, this is the entrance. Locker number 47. Approaching the locker. This is the raw video. Nothing is going to move.
They called me and told me that Howard had been arrested and that I needed to come up there. They informed me that I need to go see the Johnson City Police Department before I do anything else.
There's a bag at the door entrance and red brown stain.
So I drive to Johnson City. I have no idea why he's been arrested.
We have a hospital glove here behind the car next to the back wall.
One of them goes, oh, we found the bodies. I said, oh, wait a minute. You found my uncle's body? The guy goes, no, we found some bodies. We don't know if his body's there. They were in the storage building that belonged to Howard's mother, Betty.
Locker number 1, shoe print on car corner. Number 2, tools under tarp, hammer, hatchet, and scissors.
Hearing that they had found bodies in a storage building that I know that Betty had, it made me sick.
We're now looking at the blanket, proper bit, lots of stains, discoloration, lots of maggot activity. There's definitely a body underneath all that.
They said when they opened the door that the smell about knocked them down, and they opened the containers enough to know that there were body parts in them.
Okay, now that is very odd.
They could see that there was blood and body parts of at least 2 people in there. At that point in time, I found out that Samantha and Adam both were missing. I became aware that Howard was hanging out with the teens.
There were 2 marks on the head that really looked suspicious for a chainsaw.
I talked to some other officer. He said, we need you to do us a favor. Do you mind wearing a wire and going to Betty Willis's house? That's Howard's mother.
Howard isn't talking and we need more information.
I wanted to go back in the jail and talk to Howard, and I told them I would wear their wire if they would let me get back in the jail and talk to him.
We just need any information you can get.
And they had a DEA agent come in and put a wire on me, and he says at 5:55, get them to turn the TV on.
We've arranged for a local news station to play a broadcast about the murder.
They said if we hear anything, out of the ordinary, we're coming in the door. We've got people stationed all around you over there. When I went to the house, his Aunt Marie answers the door.
Who is it, Marie? It's okay. It's Wilda.
As soon as I enter the door, she reaches behind me and deadbolts. They never lock their doors. Something isn't right. People who never lock their doors don't all of a sudden deadbolt their doors. They were both nervous. They were antsy. They're talking around in circles. You've got to go see Howard. You've got to help Howard. You're the only one that can help Howard. I'm like, let's watch the news while I'm here, see what's going on.
We're going now to Johnson City, where police are investigating a group.
As soon as it pops up, there's the storage building with police tape and stuff. And they say something about they believe they found teenagers' bodies. And Betty and Marie both go. They found the kids' bodies.
Oh, my God.
And I look at them, I said, what are you talking about? She said they found Samantha and Adam's body. And Betty goes, that's my storage building. They found her. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm nervous. I'm sitting there keeping eye contact the best I can because I don't know who's involved. I don't know who's done anything. The more they talked and the more they acted like they did, the sooner I wanted to leave. And I told them, look, I've got to get up and go. If I want to see Howard at the jail, I'm out of here.
I got to get out of here right now.
So I get ready to leave. This is the scariest thing that ever happened. Both Marie and Betty jump to their feet. Betty right in front of me, Marie to the side of me. And they yell, you're not going anywhere. Hold on. Betty's known to carry a gun. More than one gun. When Betty leaves to go in the other room, it's going through my head she's going for that gun. So then I'm panicking. Because I'm like, they're going to kill me now. This is it. So I'm edging my way to the door, which is only a few feet from me. But I know the door's locked. So I've got my hand behind my back trying to undo a deadbolt. And it doesn't want to unlock. And even though the police said they could get to me, I'm in front of the door. I later learned from the police that they were fixing to kick the door, but when they realized I was trying to open the door, they held back. And Betty was back in there with money in her hand. Here, can you take and give this to Howard? When Betty walked in there with money in her hand, I was shocked, but I was also relieved because it wasn't a gun.
Promise me you'll do something for him. I promise.
I thought she would kill me. So I thought she figured they had said too much. They tell me good luck and they hope I can talk to him. I knew he had my answers. And I felt that I could get the answers from him because I knew he was desperate. And his first words are, you're too late.
Too late for what, Howard?
He's not angry. He's not raising his voice.
They found the bodies.
Whose bodies?
And he's going, it was on the news. I'm like, what was on the news? He said they found Adam and Samantha's bodies. Start getting him to tell me what happened. He tells me he blew Adam's effing brains out.
Did you kill him? Did you kill him?
Adam's brains? Yes. I blew his brains out. Pulled the trigger right then and there. I don't know what he got so upset.
When Howard first told me he did all this, it made me sick. I wanted to get out of there, but yet I still wanted my answers about Sam because I knew if he's done this, there's more to it. So it's like I've got to make myself sit here. I've got to hear the whole story, no matter how bad I hate sitting here. Howard admitted that he killed the kids because they killed Sam. That's his original story. According to Howard, Adam and Samantha went up there to rob Sam. He said that Adam came in there high, bragging about how he killed the old man and how he cut the old man up. So that Howard just picks the gun up and shoots him. And then he turns the gun and shoots Samantha at the same time.
So you shot Sam? Right there, Betty?
She was right there beside me.
And what she said to me today?
She turned around and I just shot her to it.
He said that he cut Adam up because Adam said that he cut Sam's head in. hands off. So he cut Adam's head and arms off.
What did you cut, Adam? What did you cut? His head and hands. Hands? Yeah.
There was no emotion in his face. It was just like an everyday conversation. It's just like he was telling me that he went to a ball game.
What did you do with your map? In the storage shed to get into right now. Where's the map? Right there with you. Yeah.
I did ask Howard if he killed Sam. He said no. He said the kids killed Sam. But the way he said it and the words he used made me know that he did it. It was his demeanor, his wording, everything made me know that he had not only killed the kids, he had killed my uncle, and he killed Debbie. I leave. The lead detective walks up to me and says, I want to thank you for doing my job for me. I said, if you'll just give me a gun, I'll take care of the rest of it. And that's the only response I had. Could I have killed Howard? No. But that's the only response I could have.
I blew the brains out. Pulled the trigger right down there on her. I don't know what he got so upset.
It's like he just told it to me. And it all comes back right back where I was at. It's still unreal. He did it, and I can't change it. One of the questions I'm constantly asked, and it's not surprising, is why Howard chose me to tell me. I honestly think he thought I would help him. No matter how many times I hear the tape, the words that stick out is he blew the brains out. He told me lots of stuff that night, but those are the words that I'll remember the rest of my life. I had a little disposable camera to make pictures. When the pictures were developed, they had skulls in my pictures in various places. This is Sam. This is what drove me in 2002 to wear a wire, to seek evidence on a man that I thought I'd loved and trusted all my life. He loved his family. He would have done anything for any of us. He loved his grandkids. They were everything to him. But he didn't get to see them grow up. And that's something nobody can replace. Pictures don't replace what they lost. This picture hangs in all of our homes, somewhere in them, so that we don't forget. And he's always smiling at us, so it's a very happy picture. We love you, Sam. You're not forgotten at all. I'm sorry. Howard had given me information that night in that interview of where I could find Sam. He tells me that Sam's body is up on Lookout Mountain. So he gives me various places on Lookout Mountain to go the next day. We had some of the Georgia State Patrol, we had Walker County, so we all go to the mountain. We searched most of the day. And they found him. His head and his hands were missing. He was left there for the animals to eat. Because you could tell what the animals had been eating on him. But we knew it was him. But still, we were missing part of him. And I had to have all of him. My feeling is I had to have Sam all together. I couldn't bury him without all of him. You can't bury somebody twice. So we couldn't put it to rest until we had him all. I start talking to Howard more do I find the rest of Sam? So I pushed and I pushed. Finally, Howard says, make me some pictures and I can show you where his head is. So I get a little disposable camera to make pictures. So we go back down the trail. When the pictures were developed, they had skulls in my pictures in various places. If you looked at my pictures, you can see the skulls. But if you go look at those rocks or that landscape, you don't see the skulls. To this day, I think it was my uncle giving me the clues of where to find him. You can see a skull here. You can see what resembles a face and the pattern of the rock. Got the two eyes and the nose. See it also in the face of the big rock. You stood there beside me that day, you would see a rock. I saw a rock. But in my pictures when they were developed, these rocks had images of skulls in them. So we used my pictures to walk down the trail, and the skulls guided us to where his head was. One of my pictures, it showed a skull overlooking the path. And over here near this big rock, was Sam's head in a hole that was covered by another rock. I think these skulls appeared in my picture so that we could find his head that still wasn't at peace. That he needed his body together to be at peace. Even though I never believed in ghosts, Sam wanted us to find him. My pictures helped us find him. His verdict came back faster than I ever dreamed. They come back with first-degree murder on both cases, and then he was given the death sentence. As far as him being given the death penalty and the way I feel, I agree with it because he kills kids, but then I was raised all my life that the death penalty was wrong. So it's a big conflict for me. I think he deserves it, and I was really struggling with the fact, here I'm raised that the death penalty is wrong, but I was a key witness in a death penalty case that got somebody the death penalty. So that's still a very hard issue that I don't know how I'm going to feel when it happens. Over the years, people have asked me if there's other crimes been committed. Do I think so? Yes. Can I prove it? No. The DA's take is he's convicted of 2 murders. Why convict him again? Why waste money? But to this day, there's still no one prosecuted for my uncle's death. And to this day, we don't have our answers. And that's the hardest part to accept. We're never going to see justice for him. The hardest thing is not knowing. It's not knowing why, even though we suspect it was a disagreement over money. My honest opinion is Howard went up there for money and that things got out of control. I think he killed the kids because he was afraid at 15 and 16 years old. That's a secret he couldn't keep. But still, we don't have all the answers. And I don't think we'll ever get them. Unless Howard gets a guilty conscience and tells us the truth. I hope that I get the nerve before he is put to death to go ask him one more time. I don't know if being that close to losing his life, he will tell me the truth. But for me, I've got to try.
You can never understand what someone else goes through. The reason I want to talk about it now is because he's gone. He's dead. It's my way of paying him back. I need a minute. I agreed to do this because everybody's so convinced that he was just an unnatural human being, that he was evil, that he was bad, and he wasn't to me. He wasn't that to me at all.
He's never hurt anybody. For God's sakes, this is nothing. I mean, I don't know what they're trying to do to him. He's never hurt anybody.
It's much, much easier for me to speak with strangers because they don't judge you or say, why did you stay? Why did, you know? I just let myself down. I didn't. I just wasted my life. I wasted my whole life because I didn't want to listen to it. I didn't want to hear the truth. And I had been tricked. He was big, and he was strong, and he was bald, and he was muscular, and his arms were as big around as my waist. He was just so strong and so powerful, and he had beautiful radiant eyes. His legal name was Alvin. There were a lot of people who called him Al, but I always called him Bud. Bud was everything this woman could have ever wanted. It was pretty ideal for me. Yeah. I was working as an in-home service.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hi. Got your paper? Got your coffee?
He was living with his grandparents, and he was having a hard time working, caring for them.
Hi.
Hi.
Wow. This looks great.
Thank you.
His grandfather had Alzheimer's, and I was just going to help him around the house, prepare meals, and our eyes met, and I just got swooped right up.
Wow. You are amazing. You know that?
Thanks.
We dated a little. We decided that we enjoyed one another and that we might just go ahead and get married.
Have a great day. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
I just wanted to be a good wife. That's all that kept going through my head. I just needed to be a good, faithful, loyal wife. It was a very typical day at his grandparents' home before we were married. I heard the door and Bud's brother approached me.
Hey, what are you doing here?
I realized quickly that he wasn't there to visit.
Look, I gotta tell you something. It's about Bud.
What are you talking about?
He told me I shouldn't marry Bud because Bud wasn't the person I thought he was. You should not be here. You should not do this. Bud is not a decent human being.
Why would you say that? What is this really about? Did he do something to you?
Not exactly.
He had no proof. He just kind of said, you know, there's a lot of things you don't know. Because he approached me in that manner, I had all my defenses up, and I said, I'm not listening to one word you say.
Look, he's a good man. I think you need to leave before Bud comes home.
I was in love. Everything was great. He was good to his grandparents, and that was a big thing with me at the time.
Take care of yourself, Jackie.
I didn't want to hear it. confused, and I talked to Bud when he got home from work.
Your brother came by today.
Oh, yeah? What did he want?
He warned me not to marry you.
His exact words were, he just doesn't want me living here with Grandma and Grandpa. Bud's grandparents' property apparently was always in some kind of questionable situation.
Ever since I moved in to take care of our grandparents, he's been on my case.
As long as I stayed there and I was taking care of the grandparents, they couldn't ship them off to a nursing home and then do what they wanted to do with the property, with the money.
He had his way. They'd be out of the picture and he'd have their money. He doesn't care what happens to them.
There was a lot of hate, a lot of resentment. Bud said that it was just family rivalry.
I could never protect them from my family's greed without your help. Thank you for that.
And Bud and I just simply locked arms and moved on. My wedding was wonderful. I was filled with joy and love, and it was really, really a wonderful, wonderful day. The fact that his family wasn't at the wedding, I felt sad that they didn't want to share that happiness with him. But, you know, I never saw any of his family after we were married. I never saw any of them or talked to any of them. And if I would have gone into the situation with a little bit more why, instead of okie dokie, I would have gotten a better picture of what was really going on. But I didn't. After we were married, I moved into the home with everybody. When Bud would come home from work, I was ecstatic. I would want to meet him at the door and take his lunch pail and how did your day go? But one night I was expecting to come home. The later it got, I thought, well, maybe he's held up at work. I tried to read a book, which I couldn't concentrate on what I was reading, and it got later and later and later and later. I just sat out in the living room and kept watching for the lights, wondering if he's going to come around the corner, if he'll be just driving in a minute. I was so frightened and so afraid that something had happened to him. He was gone the whole evening. It was fairly early in the morning when he came in.
Hey, where have you been? I've been up all night.
I'm sorry, I was out. I was out with the boys.
He told me he was just out with some friends and he drank a little bit too much, so he just stayed at his friend's place.
I forgot to call. I should have called. I know.
I'm worried sick.
I ate it right up. I was just so relieved that he was okay.
I didn't want to drive after drinking.
Okay, that was smart. I'm just glad you're home.
I was like, well then, it's better that you didn't drive. You had been drinking too much. It's resolved, there's no problem, it's not a big deal. The first time when this happened with Bud, it was at dinner.
It's beautiful outside today, wouldn't you agree?
His physical body was there, but he wasn't there. But he wasn't hearing me.
I took your grandparents to the park today. It was beautiful.
He just was stone cold quiet.
Bud, have you heard anything I've said?
Yeah.
I think I can describe this look in Bud's eye best by when you talk to people and they don't hear you. You can see in their eyes that they're not there. It would happen like once or twice a month. And when that would happen, I could tell that the next night he wasn't coming home. Bud would leave. It would be for something. I'm gonna go get dog food. I'm gonna go get cigarettes. And 9 times out of 10, he just wouldn't come back. But it never crossed my mind that Bud could be having an affair. He was just being a boy. He was just out with his buddies. I didn't have any problem with that at all. I justified everything. I found this piece of paper. It was a sheet of paper from the courts. It had all this prison stuff on it. And the Alvin Brown had been sentenced to prison for rape. I found this piece of paper. It was a sheet of paper from the courts. Alvin Brown had been sentenced to prison for rape. They originally convicted him for 6 years, but he got out in 4 years because of good behavior. It was like I was pushed off the cliff. And I left that paper on the kitchen table.
What's this?
Why don't you tell me?
When Bud came home, he's like, "Where did you find this?" And I said, "In the bottom of the closet."
Did this really happen? Were you arrested for rape?
Yes.
And he's like, "Well, honey, I got convicted of this, but I didn't do it. It was all circumstantial evidence. I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. It didn't happen." I thought that I really didn't know who he was. And I even said that. "Is this what your brother was trying to tell me?" And he said, "Probably."
Did you do it? Did you rape that girl?
No. And I know this looks bad, but you've got to believe me, they got the wrong guy.
I never had any reason to doubt anything that Bud told me.
Okay, then.
And even if Bud had done this crime, he was punished by society in the appropriate manner, and he went to prison. He did everything he was supposed to do. What happened in his life before I met him should have no effect on how I feel and what I do today. And that's how I justified that. It never came up again. Eventually, Bud's grandparents were removed from the home and placed in a nursing home. I would make trips to the nursing home on a regular basis to make sure that they were getting outstanding care. Bud began not coming home 2 times a month, 3 times a month. One day, I was going shopping or doing something, and I went and got in the truck. And as I looked down, I noticed that there was a pin. It was a fascinating piece of custom-made jewelry. I I looked at the pin, front and back, and I was somewhat confused. It wasn't my pin. And so the end of the day came around.
This was delicious, hon.
And after dinner, I kind of put it down, slid it on the table.
Who does this belong to?
And he was quick.
It's my buddy's little girl. I gave her a ride home the other day. Must have fallen off in the truck.
And I thought for a couple of minutes. I looked at the pen. It wasn't a little girl's pen. It was an adult woman's pen. But I think what it was is his response time was phenomenal.
You want me to see him tomorrow? I'll give it back to him then.
He didn't even have to think about it, and it was there. Nobody ever said another word about it. And I never found anything else. As I think back now, I'm just like, oh my gosh, did you been that gullible? That you something didn't click in your head to say to you, get a hold of it, girl. Something isn't right here. Something's not matching up. One day, he had come home from work.
Hi, honey. Welcome home.
Hi.
How's work?
It was okay.
And I noticed a fragrance in the air. It was a female smell.
What does that smell?
He said, well, why would you say that? And I said, because I smell something on your clothes that smells like a woman. And the pen is still like wandering in the back of my mind.
Oh, there's this new girl at the office. She must bathe in this stuff. I'm sure the whole office smells that way.
My way of coping with things was pretty much not dealing with them. If a second thing would have happened after that, that was a clincher.
I'll take a shower.
But after that occasion, nothing like that ever happened again. And so again, I let it go. I let it all go. Because when we got in front of a minister, in part of the wedding statement, it said, I won't ever leave you until death, and then we'll meet again. I had a lifetime of a commitment. Not 6 months, 6 years, but a lifetime. We were in bed. It was like 2 or 3 in the morning or something. Bud and I were sound asleep.
What's that?
There was this pounding and beating on the door.
Stay here. I'll go check it out.
And so, of course, Bud got up, went to the door, and answered, and the police just come storming in. To be awoke in the middle of the night by something that startling was almost heart-stopping. I was so startled. I remember myself just constantly saying, what's going on? What's going on?
What's happening? What's going on?
They arrested him. They put him in cuffs. And then I got that look from Bud. All he said to me was, come down to the jail and pick me up. And then they took him.
come pick me up tomorrow morning.
But they didn't keep him. I drove down in front of the jail. He came out, got in the car, and I took him home.
Thanks for picking me up.
Explain this, Bud.
In the car, I said, "What's going on?" And he said, "They're trying to get me for stealing."
You don't know the whole story.
What is the whole story?
They like me for this robbery case.
And I'm like, "Okay, did you do it?" He says, "Well, no. This is all a setup because of my old crimes, that they're trying to get me for something somebody else did."
They let me go. I didn't do it.
Let's go home. I was just so overwhelmed. I was like, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to have anything to do with it. We're going to continue with our day like nothing happened. But that's when the emotional separation started. From that day on, it changed me more than it changed anything. After this police invasion, I found myself constantly looking out the window, opening the door, checking the garage. And I saw the police often. They wouldn't have their searchlights on, they would just be driving by very slowly. I became paranoid about undercover agents, about secrets.
Hey, Bud?
Are they gonna come beat on the door? Are they gonna take Bud again? Or like, what's gonna happen?
That's the second time I've seen a cop car drive by today.
And I found myself questioning him a lot more after that. Like, what's going on? And he would just say, well, it's their usual neighborhood watch stuff.
It's probably nothing. It's all in your head.
You're probably right.
And I always dismissed it as they were always there, but I had never realized it before. I'd never connected it as him being bad. He could never be anything other than what he is to me, because I knew him, I thought. I would crawl into bed with him at night, and he slept sound. Real sound. I've always thought in my mind, if any person is out doing anything that's not right, that they can't possibly sleep sound at night. Because Heavenly Father's not going to let you sleep, because that guilt is going to just get you, and it gets you most at night when you're sleeping, when all your guard is down. I honestly feel that assured me that he wasn't doing really anything wrong. He was just out with the boys. And he wasn't possibly doing anything that was going to affect me in any way or hurt me. I made really solid excuses. I just could not process it. I couldn't get it out of my head. I didn't want to listen to it. I didn't want to hear the truth, because I knew the right thing of what I had to do, and I didn't want to do it. This was Christmas at my mom's in Idaho. Bud and I decided to go to my folks' for Christmas. I looked so forward to this trip and visiting with my family. It was the first trip we had taken, so everybody could just get to know each other a little bit better. And he had a great time visiting and eating, with my family. We played lots of games. One time we even tried to sing.
You got a new present? You ready? You ready? All right.
And he showed me lots of laughter, and he had a great time visiting and eating, with my family. And out of the clear blue, he just said we're going home.
Jackie.
Yeah.
We have to go.
What?
We weren't going to stay the length of our visit that we had planned. I mean, it was a great trip. We had a great visit. Everything was going ideal. He said, well, something has come up and I have to get back and take care of it.
We have to go now.
But we just got here.
He never explained. I was very puzzled. But I wasn't going to argue. That wasn't what we were made of.
Okay. I'll just tell my family that you have a work emergency.
So I made the appropriate excuses.
Say your goodbyes. I'll pack the car.
Okay. Hi, so we have to go.
And so we did. We loaded up and went home.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as we got home, we unloaded the car, and he says, I'll be back in a few hours. I'm like, okay. I didn't question him, and we were still so in love. I was still blinded by things. I felt like that if I was more vigilant, I could then maybe find something or notice something. And there was a time the phone rang.
Hello?
And there was nothing. I'm like, hello? Nothing, so I hung. The second call came moments later.
Hello?
Nothing.
Look, this isn't funny. Please don't call here again.
And then I said something to Bud about these calls.
Who was that?
Someone keeps calling, but they won't say anything.
And he's like, oh, well, I'll get the next call then if they happen to call back. It wasn't long after that.
Hello?
Bud picked up the phone. He's like, hello? He didn't say anything else.
Wrong number.
Then that clicked. That somebody was calling that wanted to talk to him, not to me.
I got a lot to do today. I gotta go.
And then soon after that, he left. He had something else going on that I was involved in. I was down in the basement, tidying, fluffing, doing what I do. I picked up the cushions on the couch. I saw a syringe. And I thought, oh my gosh, he was doing drugs. It kind of fell into place. All of the things that he was doing. The distant look in his eyes, secrets, whatever it is that he had to go do away from the home, I thought it just had something to do with drugs. When Bud got home from work, I said, hey, look what I found.
Drugs? Drugs, that's what you're doing now?
What are you talking about?
I found this in the basement.
I said, what is this from? And he said, oh, it was from a long, long time ago.
I admit I used to fool around with stuff like that, but I haven't in years.
I said, No, I don't think that's possible because there's still a bit of liquid in the bottom of it.
Stop lying to me.
I thought, this is it. This is the end. I hit him with the whole ultimatum.
You need help. You need to check yourself into a drug clinic, or I'm going to leave you.
And I remember him just standing there and looking at me. And I just looked at him and said, get out of this house because I am done. He was crushed. And I left. I was trying to make a point with him. I went to Washington. My folks had a cabin up in the Blues. I just stayed there for a few weeks and tried to get my P's and Q's together. But never at any point did Bud say, drugs are my problem. I wanted to make sure he was okay.
Who is this?
Hello, Bud?
This man picked it up and he said, who is this? And of course, me being me, I'm like, yeah, no, wait a second. Who is this? Who are you and what are you doing answering this phone?
Where's Bud? I want to talk with him now.
He says, well, you're not talking to him because this is the Portland Police Department and he's going with us. What was the police department doing at the house?
Where is he? Let me talk to him.
I thought, did he get busted for drugs? That has to be it. My panic button went off. And off to Portland I went. I drove straight through. Didn't stop. I got to the house. And I opened the door. There was a number of policemen. The whole house was filled with these black lights, and I was kind of freaked out because I didn't know what was going on. And then this big, huge cop came out.
What is this? What is happening?
Ma'am, I need you to step outside.
I said, this is my house. My name's on the lease.
Ma'am, this is an active crime scene. I need you to leave. Please back up.
My husband. Where is he?
And I'm like, where is Bud? Where is Bud? And they're like, he's in jail. And at that point, I realized this is not good.
35-year-old Alvin Brown was arraigned today on robbery and theft charges. Brown allegedly picked up a woman, drove her to I-5 and Southwest 22nd, took her purse and forced her from the car. Brown is also a suspect in an alleged rape case at the same location.
He was arrested for throwing this woman off of a bridge. But she didn't die. It actually wasn't too long after we had separated. I saw him in jail, but said, I didn't do this. I didn't hurt this woman.
But there's more. 10 years ago, Brown was convicted of raping a 15-year-old girl in Southwest Portland. A month later, 4 women were killed within 30 days of each other. 17-year-old Kimberly Stevens, 17-year-old Melania Christ, 31-year-old Noreen Davis, and 57-year-old Sheila Burnett. Detectives working the cases believe Brown is their killer.
I kept the televisions off. I didn't even listen to the radio because I didn't want to hear. It was all this negative stuff. I wasn't going to listen to any of that crap. Nothing. Because if this had happened, murdering people and burying bodies and horrific crimes, it happened before we were married. My life during that time was very, very difficult. I was in the garage, and this man came up. He had this microphone, and he said, "We want to know what you think." And I was shaking so bad, and I was trying to talk, and I just lost it.
He's never hurt anybody. For God's sakes, this is nothing. I mean, I don't know what they're trying to do to him. He has a record from his past. He's never hurt anybody. I just don't know why they won't let us try to live our lives. And because he's an ex-convict, they call him Slime?
Oh, I'm just trembling. How odd. I began trembling. I heard myself say there, why can't they just let us live our lives? He was never horribly evil to me. That was why I stood up for him and I in a relationship, because I knew how he was to me. I actually couldn't live under that kind of scrutiny, so I moved. I left. I couldn't stay there. But some family members were like, "Well, didn't you know?" I'm like, "Know what? Suspect what?" There was nothing. Bud was never aggressive with me. He never yelled at me. It wasn't who he was. That's the blank, empty stare that I spoke of. That's the stare. I never saw this picture before. Today. It's just sad. It's just so sad. He had so much to give, and he just cut his life so short. He just gave up. I was always his wife as long as he was alive. I was never let out of my bond until he died. My commitment to him just was always there. In God's eyes until death. I don't want to think about it. I'm going to get up and put my shoes and socks on the same as everybody else. That whole experience with Bud, for me to put it into a process where I can live with it, I have to keep it a certain way. In my head. And I keep happy pictures of him and I. I keep happy things of us. When he was there, he was a good man to me. He was a good man to me. He was a good man to me. He was a good man to me.